folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. We are doing a Valley finale. Valley finale with Jesse Lally. It just rolls off of your tongue, folks. Finally, we have made it through pretty much an entire season. Yes, we do have a 3-part reunion where they will bring the bad vibes 3 more times. But I am so excited that we are at the end of this season, a season so full of toxicity that it makes you wonder why are friends? Why are friends? And I feel like we should just banish the word friends from the Valley. Let's just not call each other friends on this show. Let's call like my coworker. I am upset at my coworker because they did this. And it taught, like we've talked about this, is that the evolution of reality television, and especially how Bravo seems to do it, once you hit a certain number in terms of years that you followed characters, it turns into kind of a different thing from just focusing on friendships to trying to dig up everything in somebody's past and use them and see what like sticks against the wall. Like what can we pull on this person to completely eviscerate their life? And half of the time, and especially on the Valley, it's things that we don't ever get to see. It's things so deep in their past or something that we don't actually have footage of that it remains like this mystery. So people are throwing out accusations right and left. I mean, we're actually getting bad tattoos now to combat the misinformation. I mean, Jason Caperna had to get a ring tattoo to combat rumors. He had to scar his body potentially. I mean, things are happening right and left, and it is a very, I don't want to use the word entertaining, because I did a TikTok about this because I was like, man, so many shows that I watch, if I really sit down and think about it, are just full of bad vibes. And I hate to sound all Kourtney Kardashian, like bad vibes, but they are. It's like, what happiness am I getting? The happiness I get is talking to you guys. But when I'm watching the show, it's like I mentally picture myself just bashing my head against a wall because I don't think there could ever be resolution in most of these cases, in most of these quote unquote friendships with these coworkers. We are expecting something that will never happen, or maybe we are not expecting and we just love mess. I don't know. I'm conflicted on my feelings for this, and I really obviously think way too hard and way too deeply about this, but it is such a weirdly unsatisfying viewing experience, and yet at the same time, I realize there is this element of this being fascinating. It's fascinating. And I think the fascination in it is that some of these characters we have known for so long, since 2013, because of Vanderpump Rules. And you can't help but take the history of Vanderpump Rules and roll that over into some of your feelings for the Valley. I mean, we have watched Jax now be fired 2 times. He said he's been let go 2 times, but he's been fired 2 times. And we know the whole of Jax Taylor on reality television. Does that mean we know the whole person, Jax Taylor? Of course not. But I think we actually have a pretty good clue. I think we're not too far off maybe in our assumptions about this man. But you can't help but bring those Vanderpump Rules feelings or facts or whatever we've seen into the Valley. And then they mix it with new characters that we don't fully know. I mean, Janet and Jason, we're still getting to know. Danny and Nia, we are still getting to know. Jesse and Michelle, Hot Honey Man Aaron, we are still getting to know these people. So the success of the Valley is being able to use these older characters to springboard a new iteration of Vanderpump Rules. And there's new people with enough dark secrets or things that people are trying desperately to get on screen that it is a fascinating viewing experience, but I think wholly it is an unpleasant viewing experience. Now, it's just like, how do you like your steak? How do you like your unpleasantness? Do you like it medium rare? Do you like it raw? Do you like it cooked to a charcoal briquette? That is what we're dealing with, is that we've decided as an audience, and Bravo and 32 Flavors, the production company behind the Valley, has decided that the unpleasantness of Jax is too much. We need him off. But don't worry, we have all of this other unpleasantness still surrounding the Valley. that unpleasantness is not going anywhere. It's not like you cut the cancer out. No, man. This cancer is mutated into so many different ways that you're like, I'm sorry, man. The body is riddled. The Valley body is riddled with cancer, and there is no way to cut this thing out. So we're just going to ride this wave. Now, my sources say they start filming in a couple of weeks, and a lot can happen in a couple of weeks. And just like the Jax Taylor news about being let go, loose quotation marks here, you guys, Brittany Cartwright was on Watch What Happens Live with Zach Wickham last night, and it's almost like an open joke about Jax deciding to leave. And she's like, whoever made that decision, good decision, Schwartz. Oh, sure. Which, by the way, oh my God, behind the bar, there was like this guy that was attacked by a shark, and they took his hand, and I think it's Shark Week. And you know Brittany loves sharks. I love sharks and sharks. Sharks, 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 sharks. I want to do shots with sharks. Sharks, 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 sharks. Which, by the way, Team Brittany all the way. But when I attach myself to some sort of voice that I do, I just say it. I just do it in my head, or I'll say it out loud all the time. In fact, Rebecca knows that I've been walking around the house going, shot, 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 sharks and shot. I want to do shots with sharks. Shot, 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 shot. But I'm really curious how we will tackle next season. I love that I say we. I have literally zero to do with this show. But it is funny. That's also being a fan of reality television. Don't you guys agree, folks, that over the years, we have now put ourselves in the position of producer? We're like, we need to get this person off the show. Janet needs to go. You know what? Danny needs to go. He's gone. I'm not renewing his contract. We have no power in this. I think with the noise with Jax Taylor and his constant behavior, like this man couldn't save himself to save his life. Like he couldn't do, I feel like he was warned many times. And even in the clips I've seen from the reunion, which starts next Tuesday, you see that he's constantly still making horrific mistakes on camera. So if he can make these mistakes on camera, imagine the shit he's doing off camera. Imagine it. I'm sorry to my favorite Twitter account, Justice for Jax Taylor. I'm sorry, man. You got to take the L on this one. Jax has never helped himself. I know you think he is the bee's knees and that his body and face has been molded by hands of God, but chiseled. This man has been chiseled by the hand of God. Well, he's going to have a lot more time to have God work on that chiseling, because he doesn't have a full-time job at this point, but nobody's reached out yet. Has anybody gotten a recent cameo from Jax? Sandra gave me the price of his cameo last week. Let's see if he's raised his cameo price at all. I think this is fast. Times are tough, so he might have had to raise it, or does he lower it? Does he lower the price? Let's find out. Okay, he's at 158. 158. So I think that is potentially the same price that he was last week. And he currently has a 4.94 rating out of 5. So so he might not be doing good on Bravo, but he's doing good on Cameo. So if you have gotten a recent cameo from Jax, please let us know. So bad it's good with Ryan Bailey. Please. What is my email address? Is it Ryan at so bad it's good with any? Doesn't really matter. How are you? I just really launched into it right there, and I didn't even get to ask how you're doing. I hope you're well. We've had a great week of shows. Sophie on Monday, Taylor Hale from Big Brother on Tuesday. Now, I know a lot of my listeners don't watch Big Brother, but I still highly recommend listening to that interview. It was one of my favorites. Wednesday, we had Miss Scheana Shay, and I got to talk about my love of Ozzy Osbourne and Malcolm Jamal Warner, and I thought that was great. And we'll finish out the rest of the week strong with Shannon Bedore. Now, to my Patreon members, we'll be doing a Valley after show recap. I'm going to try to have that done by Friday this week, because I'm leaving for San Francisco. We're going to go see Lady Gaga this weekend, which I'm very, very excited about. But we're working on this thing. So Patreon members, you don't have to worry about it. And you can sign up for Patreon at any time, patreon.com/so bad it's good. But to make it easier for people that listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we are doing this thing where Patreon episodes, or you can sign up for those bonus episodes that we do directly on when you're looking at your main feed scrolling thing. Look at the technical terms. The main feed scrolly thing. You know what I'm talking about. You can sign up directly on there, and I believe it'll be $6 a month, and you get access to 400 previous episodes that have never never hit the main feed. Plus, we did all the Valley after shows. We're going to do a new show recapping exclusively on there, and then we do Q&As. We do Patreon lives every once a week. So I think we're trying to aim. Scott said we're going to try to aim to get that live on Friday. So I just wanted to let you guys know if you're interested. It's just called More Bad It's Good. Not so bad, more bad it's good. Because my God, there's way too much. But if you want more, there is more. So yeah, Scheana was on there. Have you guys gotten Scheana's book? Are you considering getting Scheana's book? If you're not getting Scheana's book, what's the holdup? No, seriously, these are those things that I'm a collector. Also, I love collecting just things that most people wouldn't collect. And I do have a very strong collection of Bravo books, Bravo Celebrity books. In fact, so much so that with the Bravo Celebrity books, I always thought, why didn't Bravo create their own book imprint? Like, why don't they keep that in-house? And it's the same thing with Bravo Celebrity podcasts. Why doesn't Bravo just start a podcasting network? And that way they can control a little bit better the flow of information. Because I will say it's disappointing sometimes. Not so much Watch What Happens Live, even though, on Watch What Happens Live last night, Brittany, let us know that Jax, to this day, this was recorded on Tuesday night, he still is not paid for any medical bills for cruise. He is not going to therapy, and there are big questions if he is actually sober or not. That is a lot of information. That is a lot of information. And the problem with correct information is that there is so much misinformation that is thrown out, is that you just try to flood the zone with false information. And Jax is really good at this. Now, I don't know if this is conscious or subconscious, but he floods it with so much misinformation or just no, I did this. And, most people will never question that because they have better things to do with their lives than go look up the truth of a situation. But Brittany was on Watch What Happens Live and just said, no, he has not done any of these things still. And they were supposed to be divorced on July 21st, and they have not. She said we both screwed up the paperwork. I both screwed up the paperwork. I was talking about sharks. So now I guess the time they'll be divorced is in September. It's scary. But she also just said everything is still horrible with her and Jack. It's horrible. It's horrible. And I'm like, oh my God, nothing has changed. In fact, that's our fears too, or my fear the last couple of weeks. I'm like, if you let this guy go, I truly worry for Brittany. And I don't want to the sky is falling, oh my God. But at the same time, I think there's a healthy fear that we've seen how this man acts. And I'm not trying to take away the agency that somebody can change. I really want that. In fact, I was a guest on Melissa's Your Bish Therapist, BISH, this week. And we just had the best conversation. We did the conversation on Monday, and she is a counselor and a therapist. And she just has such a beautiful language in how to speak about these things that, mainly the men, but also women on these shows go through. And so I think if you're looking for something, a little bit of a deeper conversation, because you ain't going to get it here. I did a pirate voice. Go over and check out Your Bish Therapist, and make sure to rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We always want to do that to support people doing this sort of work. This is important work, damn it. No, but I am worried about what is now, what happens from this point on. And Brittany had no problem talking about Jax on Watch What Happens Live. So I would assume, and I guess this will be up to production, is how much she will be talking about Jax without him being on the Valley. Or is there going to be a kind of, no, we do not say his name. This is the true Voldemort of the Valley. We do not say this man's name on television. Now, I think you can't help but say his name, because that is going to be a continuing part of Brittany's story. And I would imagine the one headache in Brittany's life will be dealing with this man. And just because he's not on TV does not mean that is not going on. So the reality of the reality, that is what I'm questioning, what we will see next season. What do you guys want to see next season as a viewer? And as a, by the way, we should put out some sort of detailed poll, or a deep questionnaire of what you want out of your reality television. What do you want out of your reality television stars? Sophie and I talked about this on Monday's Pop Culture Roundup, where so many people had called for Janet to leave. And I was like, no, there's no way, there's no reason. And you're kind of stabbing the heart of reality television is people making bad decisions or digging up information, or this is like reality TV show fodder. You need characters like Janet. You just do. Now, will Janet have some sort of arc where her character will change over the seasons of The Valley? That is yet to be seen. Okay, I just was made aware of Mint Mobile, and now I am using it, and I don't know why I wasn't using it before, because I was getting burned by my old wireless bill, and that's why I switched to Mint Mobile. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month on the nation's largest 5G network. You heard that right. $15, only $15 a month. Say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plan's jaw-dropping monthly bills and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. So ditch those overpriced wireless. Get 3 months of unlimited service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. I am using it. You can even use your old phone number. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/so bad. That's mintmobile.com/so bad. It should be so good, but the show is called So Bad, so I get that. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Folks, if you've been listening to the show, you know that I have been on a health journey for the last couple of months, and it's going amazing. But sometimes it is so hard to go out to the store, get all the things that you need, and then cook for hours to try to uphold a healthy lifestyle. And especially because it's summer. And summer, you want to spend as much time outdoors or recording podcasts that you possibly can. So you do not want to be spending those hours cooking inside. And that is where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, and it is perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. Get this, they have over 45 weekly menu options. You can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals, and you choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day sun up to sundown with nutritious breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. Factor has your whole day covered. Enjoy more this summer. Get Factor if you want all the flavor and none of the fuss. Get started at factormeals.com/SoBad50off and use code SoBad50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code SOBAD50OFF at factormeals.com/SOBAD50OFF. So that's SOBAD, the numbers 50OFF for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/SOBAD50OFF. But she is not going to go anywhere unless she chooses not to come back to the Valley. And if she chose not to come back to the Valley, I think we would have heard it this week, since they are gearing up for production. So I think all systems go. But yeah, so those are that's my opening thoughts, my opening salvo in regards to the Valley. I wish this was like a call-in show, because I would just love to take a bunch of calls going like, what did you guys think of the Valley? Let me know what stuck out to you, because I think those conversations are really important. And it always reminds me, sometimes I view things in a way different way than what other people view. And I think all opinions are warranted. They're needed. Like that's how the conversation stays alive, is that we all can't agree on everything. So I'm so curious what other people feel about this, or are we just at a point where we feel nothing? We just have cold black hearts, and we somebody threw something in our head, we wouldn't even feel it or dodge it, you know? Okay, I wanted to talk about a couple of other things before we get into the recap. Okay, let's take a hard left pivot. Let's talk about Trisha Paytas. Now, Trisha Paytas is kind of an internet icon. She obviously has a very successful podcast that's also on YouTube. I believe it's called Just Trish. And I saw her live at the Greek Theater with her show. And she's just, her commitment level is so insane, and she is so funny just by being herself, which I think is, my favorite type of influencer. I have so many so many influencers I don't like, and I don't necessarily understand what people flock to. But with Trisha Paytas, it kind of intersects at pop culture, and there's an element of weirdness to it, and like John Waters. It just all like I would love for Andy Warhol to be alive to give his commentary on Trisha Paytas. I just like I would love Andy Warhol's commentary on the Housewives or even Jax Taylor. But anyway, she welcomed her third baby with her husband Moses the other day, and she had been teasing what she was naming this baby. And why this has been so interesting was that she was giving clues. It was going to be water based, and there was a movie poster, and all of these clues. And just to give you a little context, her other two children, her daughter too, is named Malibu Barbie. And her son, who's 13 months old, is named Elvis. So those are her previous two children's names. Malibu Barbie, a very strong baby name. Malibu Barbie is a very strong. So a lot of people were speculating. So she did a live broadcast of her pod, and this was on YouTube. And over 100,000 people were watching this live at a given point. I was at Jeff Lewis, but Rebecca was texting me all of the updates on what this name was going to be. And she has revealed that their new son's name is Aquaman Moses Paytas Hackman. Aquaman and Moses is the middle name. So Aquaman, based on obviously the DC superhero character Aquaman, most recently played by Jason Momoa in the movies. So Aquaman. I mean, obviously a very popular baby name already. I think a lot of people have named their kids Aquaman. Now, if I had a child, I mean, this hits me in all my feels because truly, and this is why I should never have a child, is if I had a son, my son's name would be Batman. Like, just hands down. It would be like, no question, Batman. Not even a middle name, Batman. You think of how strong of a name Batman is? You're reading the attendance, and all of a sudden you're like, Randy, and then all of a sudden it's like, Batman, here, present. Batman, strong. So Aquaman, love it. Now, will this make this child's life harder through the years? Who knows? I mean, you're definitely setting this person up. I mean, I don't think this, I mean, who knows? The world's gone in such a weird direction that maybe this could be a president one day, like President Aquaman, or, like a Supreme Court Justice Aquaman. But I love it. I don't know what the reality is. So she took to the video podcast and she unzipped her jacket for the reveal, and it had a bedazzled Aquaman t-shirt and also unveiled a Aquaman statue of the comic book character. And she said Aquaman was so perfect because it combined her love for the movies and her husband Moses's love of water. So that's great. They really did put some thought into it. And she said, not only is it so related to me, but it's also I guess the conventional wisdom would say he could go by his middle name, Moses. But I hope this child goes. I mean, also, if you're a child, wouldn't you choose to go with Aquaman? Like, what would you rather go by? Like, those were the names I wanted to be called Clark Kent as a kid. In fact, my mom, I used to make her when I was a kid, and your parents would do your hair. I guess I had to be like 16, 17 years old. No, I was like 8 or 9. But like my mom would always, I would have her do my hair in like a superhero fashion, which was hard because I have curly hair. But it would be like the Clark Kent would have the curly Q on the forehead, like Clark and Superman did. And then the Hulk hairdo would just be messy hair. Those are the two that I can remember, but I just remember that. Oh my God, I loved those days. Unless this kid is like picked on mercilessly for being named Aquaman, I would go with Aquaman for as long as I could get away with it. I think it might start getting weird in junior high, high school. Who knows? But the world is so weird right now. Maybe this won't even be a thing ever. But Aquaman is Trisha Paytas's new baby's name. It gives you something to think about. I love it so much. Now, also, San Diego Comic-Con, which is I think it's the world's biggest Comic-Con, takes place every July, once a year, and it's going to be this weekend. My buddy is going to be on a panel for American Dad. He's a producer and writer on that show, and we were talking about this last night. And it's just, I went to I think 4 or 5 Comic-Cons in my day, and man, those were the best days. You just get to... The streets of San Diego are so fun. Everybody's doing like movie promotions and TV activations. And then you go into the convention center and everybody's got their wares set out, and you're scrolling through old comic books and action figures. And it is like a geek's dream. And then they do these big panel discussions. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, they are going to be back at Comic-Con for the first time in a very long time. And I think I talked about this on Monday's show that Paramount, Viacom, CBS, obviously, they're going through a lot trying to get this merger with Skydance, this multi-billion-dollar merger approved, and it has to be approved by President Trump. And so they have been bending the knee to President Trump again and again and paying him an exorbitant fee for the 60 Minutes fiasco. If you don't know about that, look it up. So they are really wanting this to happen. Stephen Colbert got let go from The Late Show last week. Even though he was the #1 rated show in late night. So ratings don't really matter anymore, folks. But Trey Parker and Matt Stone had not finalized their deal. In fact, they had hired Brian Friedman, who had represented Justin Baldoni and the Lively Baldoni mess. So they were not loving what Paramount Plus, because, you know, they wanted worldwide streaming rights, Paramount Plus of South Park, but they were also like kind of censoring some of the episodes and pulling some of the episodes. In South Park, if you followed it from the beginning, which has now gone on for decades, they've been able to say whatever they want, whenever they want, about whoever they want. It's very important, and I think that's why they still have people's respect to this day. And so they had gotten like lawsuit, like they got a lawyer activated, all of this stuff, and Viacom made sure that their deal closed this week before Comic-Con because, you know, one of the reasons people think is that, you know, Trey and Matt were going to go blast CBS and Viacom and Comedy Central and everybody at their panel. But they closed their deal and they got a $1.5 billion, with a B, billion-dollar deal. I believe it is a 5-year deal, $1.5 billion for Paramount Plus to have worldwide streaming rights to the entire South Park catalog. Also, a new season of South Park premieres, I believe, on Thursday night, and there was going to be questions if that was actually going to make it to air or not because of this. But they managed to close their deal because also Viacom needed this. There has been so much negative attention towards this company. And like I try to remind you guys and remind myself is that even though we consume this art or this entertainment, don't ever fool yourself, is that these things are made so they can slap commercials on them, so they can put advertising on pop-up ads when you're streaming these things. Make no bones about it. Like, yes, they're in it for the art, maybe 20%, but they truly don't care. They are looking for blocks of programming that they can put on the TV, and hopefully people will be excited about that. And if they're lucky, hopefully it'll be good. But at the end of the day, this is a business that is a business set up to make money. Point blank, period. The viewer experience sometimes is the last thing that I feel that they think about. So obviously this is a win for Matt and Trey. So congratulations. They have gotten richer. You know, with guys like that, though, I don't mind. I'm like, I've always, no matter, you know, personal feelings aside, I think they've done it in such a singular, unique way. And it's been really interesting to watch how they've remained true to themselves in a way. And they've done it for this long at this quality. And also then been able to have these side projects that were insanely successful, like the Book of Mormon or reopening that restaurant in Colorado. What's the Mexican restaurant called? That there's a great documentary on Paramount Plus, even though I don't want to promote Paramount Plus, about what is that? I'm forgetting the name of the restaurant, and you guys are yelling it out right now at home, potentially. But they've always done these side projects that are really interesting and always with like an extreme amount of quality to them. So more power to Trey and Matt. Okay, now this next news story is a little disturbing. So if there's kids around, please throw them out of the car or whatever you have to do, unless you want these kids to be subjected to some really dark stuff. And this story involves JoJo Siwa. That's right, JoJo Siwa, who most recently released her cover of Betty Davis Eyes, the Kim Carnes classic. She's got just straight vocal fry and anyways. JoJo Siwa fell in love with a man, Chris Hughes, on Celebrity Big Brother UK over this past year, and they are still going strong. Her and her new boyfriend, Chris Hughes, They are going strong, and he did an interview with E! News, and he was questioned about JoJo Siwa previously expressing her interest in naming her future children Freddie, Teddy, and Eddie. Freddie, Teddy, and Eddie. That's not as strong as Aquaman, but it's good. And then he responded, well, she calls my balls Jimmy and Timmy, so she must like Jimmy and Timmy. She must love the rhyming lingo. Which, okay, that answers the question about the rhymes, but also my second question is, why do we need to know this much about each other? Why do we? I'm going about my day. I've got a lot of things to worry about in my actual life and, putting this show out. And then I get hit with this news that JoJo Siwa has named this man's balls Jimmy and Timmy. The names, it could have been any name. Just the fact that I had to know, whatever you want to do in the privacy of your own home. If you want to name people's body parts, name them. Name them. But I didn't want to know this. And so I'm going to make you guys know this so we can all be miserable together. Like, oh, Jimmy and Timmy, she's got mad at Jimmy and Timmy. Like, what is happening in the world where, JoJo's fondling balls and then it's like, this is so awesome, I need to name it, because also you don't want to forget them. It's like, I've got to, these are so special, I got to name them. And then I don't even know what I even have to say about this. I just wanted you to know. It's that disturbing. Okay, to cleanse our palate, as we always do, we're coming up on the end of the season, but let's do this one more time. We always like to play a song to kind of get us into a mood before we dip into the darkness of the valley. So we found this song. I found this week. I've never heard this song before. It's called Raise Your Glass by Dina Deadly. And let's play this so we can all get on a level playing field with each other. Here we go. And I just want to warn you, as soon as you hear this, it's gonna do something to your DNA. It's gonna make you happy. Oh, it did it again. Woo! So mean.
Light up the sky, burn it up like a candle. When life gets harder to hide the hair. All you need is love in the boombox to make this world rock and bump to the groove stops. We are young and we're free.
Doing a string to pop music. It's like a dance. What if Jack Taylor started DJing? Maybe that's it. Where she talks about sleeping a lot of dudes and girls. You think Jackson's ever had a saxophone or something in the background? You know he has. Should we do another verse? Let's do it. Okay. I'm like a tiger in the jungle.
Living under the street lights.
I am Hart,
sleeping my free time. Saving our breath till the time that we need it. Want it so hard, you can see that we bleed it.
Boom! What you gotta say? We survived season 2 of Valley. Mark safe from season 2 of the Valley. I can't believe that stuff. Boom. Okay, we're happy right now, right? Now let's get miserable. The Valley season finale. Okay, season 2, episode 15. And this is called There's No Zen in Resentment. There's no zen in resentment. And of course, this is because of Michelle's zen party that she throws for the season finale. My one complaint about the title is that they should have done There's No Zen in Resentment. and misspelled resentment with REZEN instead of SEN. It's a small complaint, but I'd like to register that with you guys. The cable company gives us this description, and this week, Peacock heard me. They actually did a description. The last couple of weeks, they've just put this like, hey, young people trying to get through their lives with kids. It's horrifying. This one says, Kristen comes to terms with her fertility journey. Conflict takes the spotlight at Michelle's party. So not a great description, but at least we got one this week. So we start off and we hear Brittany Cartwright's voice. Previously, this season on the Valley. Shots. And we see a lot of the clips of the storylines that we've dealt with this season, right? We've got Kristen and Luke's engagement. Like, will you be the catch of my lifetime, baby? Will you be the catch? Come on, will you marry me? And then, of course, the celebration party. Brittany, I wanted to be there on the boat just to see Kristen's face. And then we go to a clip from the second episode of the season when Doute is talking to an angry, sweaty Jax Taylor, where he's like, I have everything going for me, but I just can't be happy. And she's like, don't you want to be, Jax? And then cut to that fight with Brittany and Jax on the second episode of, you need to go get help for yourself and for our son. He cannot grow up and become a person like you. In Talking Head, Jax goes, I am going to a treatment center for 30 days. I will treat it just like a place that I'm staying and continue on my life as normal, taking care of business. Brittany saying, he's in rehab right now. He has not paid our mortgage since May, Schwartz. I want to do shots with Schwartz. I'm going to have to lose my dream home. I'm going to have to lose my family. I'm going to have to lose everything. And now, really, seriously, think about that. You know, those are very real things for Brittany. Like, that is a very real consequence to the behaviors of this man she has known for 10 years. We have the clip of the scene in the car where Brittany and Doute are talking, and Doute saying, I'm very proud of you for going to see the divorce lawyer today. And she's like, I filed. You did? Uh-huh, I did. I know. And then cut to last week's episode where Jackson's like, I don't just throw away 10 years like you do. You can get over it like that. I'm not over anything, obviously. And then we cut to a Michelle storyline where Michelle's like, Aaron's not a disaster. Aaron's the polar opposite of Jesse. He doesn't talk down to me. And then we cut, by the way, I love that Bravo or 32 Flavors understands like when a line of dialogue has become a little iconic. So they always will flash back to Michelle going, we cut to the scene with Jesse at the winery. He's like, you're a disaster, Jesse. And he's like, and you're a hooker, so it's fine. And then cut to Doute talking to hot honey man Aaron and Michelle going, hey, you're friends with Jenna Willis, right? And he's like, zoinks. I feel like Aaron has that zoinks face, but those are just how his eyes are on his body. It's like always in a perpetual state of zoinks. And then we cut to this Jenna, stop trying to make Jenna happen. It didn't happen. I don't, like, everybody gave it the old college try. I don't think we really care, do we? But anyways, we have another clip from a party that Doute threw where Jenna's talking to Jesse saying, I dated Aaron. And he's like, I have heard that a year and a half ago, Michelle and him were together. And Jenna's like, oh, wow. And I'm like, is it wow? And then we cut to Hawaii when Jesse's talking to Aaron. And he's like, did you or did you not cross a line when I was married to Michelle with you and your honey ways? And he's like, no. And then we cut to Zach and Jasmine rollerblading. I mean, this is what's nice. They're not friend of cast members. They're full-time cast members. But they get to like kind of be outside of, I say they're outside of the drama, but they're not. Zach makes himself very in the drama. And obviously Jasmine is the one person that can say Danny Booko did these things. Like grabbed my girlfriend's butt and said, go get daddy a drink, right? So they are very, and also Jasmine clocked Janet at the beach calling her a Karen. So they provide things. It is funny though that they get to then kind of do scenes that are like fun loving in a sense. And you actually buy them being fun loving more than the other cast members of the Valley, if that makes sense. I don't know. And then we have Janet with her baby saying Cameron came out perfect. And Jason says, well, perfect with the exception of that flat head. And Janet's like, when you push somebody out of your vagina for 5 hours, sometimes you get a little cone situation. Or we could just blame it on Doute. And then we cut to a doctor's appointment with Doute on her fertility journey, saying we're on cycle day 6. And then another scene from the Santa Barbara vacation where Luke is talking to Nia and Kristen, saying the ovulation timing has just been chaos the last few months. And Nia telling Doute that she's so sorry. And in talking head, Doute says, I had no idea that it would be this difficult to conceive. And then we cut to Danny throwing back a shot at Jax's saloon. And then see Jason talking to Jesse. And Jesse's like, Jason, what's happening with Danny and alcohol? Cut to Jasmine saying Danny got really drunk at the bar, said some inappropriate things. Cut to Jason's talking head saying Danny approached Jasmine, put his hand on her thigh and said, get daddy a drink. Cut to Danny talking to Jasmine and her fiance saying, I'm sorry, man. And Jasmine's like, I think we're good, Danny. And then Jason saying he approached Jasmine's girlfriend, Melissa, and grabbed her butt. And then we cut to Danny apologizing again to them, saying, Melissa, I am so sorry. And Melissa saying, I'm really happy that we talked through this. And then we cut to Janet talking to Nia at a girls' dinner, saying, if you are ever having concerns about his drinking, I was in a relationship for years where somebody had drug and alcohol problems. So obviously this is also the episode where they cut that tiny bit out, or they referred to Nia potentially being an Al-Anon, which is obviously anonymous. So that's obviously why it got cut out. We cut to Nia talking to Janet in a later scene saying, you need to watch what you're saying and the way you're saying things to me. And Janet standing up going, I'm good. And then we cut to the boat from the disastrous boat ride in Hawaii with Doute telling Janet, don't make me knock your ass out. Like, seriously, don't. And Janet saying, knock me out, Kristen. Knock me out. And she's like, fucking fan. And then we have the Chiron for Bravo, the Valley. And we have some like really weird rap music going, baby, don't be insecure. You the baddest little thing in the room. Ask me, y'all cannot be sure. Everybody got eyes on you, but that's cool. Got it on lock. Yeah, there, see you with the dude. And we have Janet coming up on somebody's house, and it turns out to be Lala Kent's house. Lala is, I do think just from watching the season, you can make an argument where Scheana has been around these events. Lala, it's weird. Like if we want Lala in a scene, she did that one beach scene, but she didn't really talk, or we didn't see the edit where she talked. But it's always people coming to Lala's house. Like Lala, my God, yes. You know, you're telling me you can collect a paycheck and people just have to come to your house? Sign me up. No, don't sign me up. I would never do it. Anyways, Lala is cradling her new baby as Janet walks in. Janet brought Porto's, which is this great Cuban bakery out here in Los Angeles. It's delicious. Janet does have a deep appreciation for, I think, really good food. But, you know, Janet's like, oh, my God, your baby's perfect. Would you have to say that, right? Does anybody see a baby and go, that is so far from perfect? Michelle walks into the house as well. And Lala is telling Janet that she looks beautiful, saying it's my Hawaii slight tan, Janet says. Michelle's like, hi, I didn't ring the doorbell. Lala's like, you don't need to ring the doorbell. You look beautiful, Michelle. And then Brittany walks in. Hello, it's me, Brittany. Schwartz. Oh my God, let me get that baby. Oh, I'll get that baby. Oh my God, how you feeling, Lala? And Brittany grabs the baby. Baby Sosa fusses a little bit, and Brittany has her, and she's like, oh my God, Lala. Oh my God, Lala. Oh my God. And Lala's like, is it not the craziest thing ever? And she's like, I forget how little they are, so little. And Michelle goes, that's what I said. And Jenna goes, Michelle, does this make you want to have another one? And Michelle's smiling. She goes, actually, yeah. And Brittany's like, does it? In a talking head, Michelle goes, I always said one and done. But I know that's something that Aaron really wants. He wants several. I do see a maybe. God, in this economy, you have more than one? Are you out of your mind? Brittany keeps holding Sosa going, she looks like a porcelain doll. She looks like a shot ball. I want to do a shot. I want to do baby shot. Michelle continuing in the talking head, but just like looking at somebody else have a baby, it's very sweet. And yeah, it gives me a feeling. Ooh, season 3 Michelle storyline, getting preggers. By the way, clock that because that's probably going to happen. Lala goes, the producers are telling me to ask, how are you, Britt? And Britt goes, oh gosh. It's just been disaster after disaster. It's just all Titanic. Yesterday, Jax was just setting me off. You guys would have been so proud of me. I rang him a new one. I was like, I'm going to expect you to start paying for half of Cruz's doctor bills and stuff like that. And he freaked out about that and said, oh, well, I'm going after alimony and I'll win because you make more money than me, Jenny Craig, blah, 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 short. And Lala goes, yeah, you make more money because a cocaine addiction is expensive. And I love Brittany goes, oh, I love, even in the darkest of times, Brittany will have a chuckle. Lala goes, it's a luxury you cannot afford anymore. Lala gives her little neck thing that she does. Do you want to get popped? And Brittany just keeps going. In a talking head, Brittany's like, ever since I had Cruz, I've always been able to protect and make sure there was nothing around. Now our son is getting older. You shouldn't be doing this after you have a child whatsoever. She tells the girls, I'm not letting Cruz go over to that condo anytime soon. That den of iniquity, the sin, it's a bachelor pad. You know, I feel like nasty girls are there and Schwartz. And until the divorce is finalized and we have drug testing and rules in place, I don't feel comfortable with Cruz going over there. And Lala goes, and Jax was okay with that? Well, I mean, he doesn't have a choice. And Lala goes, yeah, you kind of have him by the balls. Yeah. Now, totally, she does have him by the balls, but I hate when it's like positioned like this on camera because you can just already see Jax using it of like, they're against men. Oh, these ladies plotting against men. Oh, fragile male egos. Lala goes, Brittany, did you have fun in Hawaii at all? Everybody's like, yeah, we did shorts. I saw sharks. Yeah, we had a good trip, actually. Yeah. And then she goes, they did not like you, Janet. And then she giggles, oh. And Janet goes, that's fine. I don't like them either. So we are having an adult conversation at this point. I don't like them either. They don't like you because they just like are so angry with you. And it puts me... And Lala's like, who? And Brittany's like, Kristen and Zach and Luke. And Janet goes, she called me a whore. She threatened to beat me up, Lala. She called me a fan. And Michelle goes, I'm like, calm down. And it took me forever to say it. Janet was like, yeah. I was like, get out of here. I would love for you to hit me, Kristen. I would love nothing more than for jail to take away your engagement ring for the night and put it in a little plastic baggie, which you sit in a cell when you sit in a cell for punching me in the face. So yeah, we're growing up. There's big changes, a lot of inner work being done by everybody on this cast. But already I was like, man, already starting this with, because now you don't even watch it. Like I don't even watch it with my own personal feelings sometimes. I'm watching it thinking like how the audience is going to clock it. And I'm like, ooh, man, they're going to clock that with Janet right there. But also, you know, like, it's just weird because it's like, you want Kristen to think about you in the ring, but then you guys went and got tattoos because of a rumor that Kristen brought up. And it seems like you guys are both mutually affecting each other. And at some point, it's just got to be exhausting. We have to let it go. At some point, can we let it go? Do we want it to be let go? But then Brittany's like, oh, Lordy. And then Lala goes, y'all's group is messy. Well, then this is where I get protective of this group. Well, then don't be in it, Lala. Don't be in it. Do not cash the check. Y'all's group is messy. You'd be lucky to be in this group. Michelle goes, it feels very crazy to me like every day. Jenna goes, I tried. I really did this summer. I included her. What did it get me? Rumors about my husband. And we cut back to that Doute talking to Jesse, going, literally every single person in our group has been talking about when Jason goes out, he takes his wedding ring off. Now, this is where I fight for at the reunion. I wish we actually watch clips because I would love to be like, Kristen, in this moment, what did you mean everybody in the group? Did everybody in the group say that, or was that just you blustering on camera? What is the reality of that statement? And we still have never gotten to the bottom of Jasmine, who actually brought this information to everybody, because it was through Jasmine. And I don't know why I do not know why we have not detained Jasmine and asked her more questions. Anyways, back in the scene, Jenna goes, I hope every time she looks at that ring, she sees a reflection of me. And then we flash to Doute with the ring, like, yeah! And then they put a Janet face on the ring. Good editing, you guys. I see what you're doing. I love it. Anyways, Brittany's like, oh, which then that's led people to think that, like, obviously Brittany is not a good friend to Zach and Doute. And in scenes like this, when she's laughing, it's just weird. It's like, yeah, you say you stick up for your friends, but you are laughing at them being shit talked about. Now, I know it goes on both ways. The other side is completely shit talking Janet. She's getting it from all sides. So at some point, we've got to have a Kelly Taylor 90210 moment where she's like, I choose me. I choose me. I don't want to talk about all this. I got my own problems. Like, it's got to be exhausting. And I really do think that Brittany is internally torn. Like, her and Zach on Watch What Happens Live last night, you see that it's ongoing. You know, and you see at the end of this, Zach, like, I need you, Brittany. It's got to be so intense on somebody that's already dealing with such intensity, but she puts herself in the middle of it. And I think it's that thing of wanting to be universally loved. Like, Brittany is getting so much attention from these two groups of people, and it puts her in the driver's seat. And I don't think she wants to be the de facto leader of this group, but I do think she likes the attention. Who doesn't like this sort of attention where everybody's kind of wanting you to be around? And then, oh, I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about that. But it's exhausting, I would imagine, right? So we get out of that scene, and then our next scene, we see shots of the freeway, little sidewalks, and we're over in hell. We're at Jax's new place. Jax is putting Coke Zero, I think it's sugar-free Coke, into his fridge. The fridge is open, and what I see in the fridge, I see a huge jar of applesauce. I think that's Mott's apples, but it's a huge, and then a huge jug of Prego Italian. It's good. I love Prego. I'm a Prego man. Good bachelor meal is just a tub of Prego. Italian. Yeah. I see Brittany had way more condiments in her fridge, but Jax is pretty condimented up as well, you guys, if you care at all. We see Luke walking up, and I'm like, oh God, which we got to talk about Luke and Jax in a second. And then Jason Caperna walks up, and he's carrying a 6-pack of Heineken, but it's Heineken Zero, you guys. That's a good friend. Let's not get buzzed. Let's get Heineken Zero. So Luke and Jason are knocking, and Jason's like, this is a freaking 4-story place. 4 stories. Like, wow, 4 stories. A lot of walking. Great. Anyways, they meet up with Jax. Hey guys, I literally just finished putting my Prego away. What's up, man? What's up, Luke? This is the place. And Jason's like, wow, Jax, this is my first time seeing it all decorated, dude. And he's like, yeah, it looks sick. Jason's like, last time I was here, it was just empty and just boxes. A lot of sadness and misery. And Jackson's like, Luke, you ever seen it? How would Luke have ever fucking seen it? Like, did you think he broke in at a certain point? Anyways, Jackson's like, this is the living area, basically. And then we fucking, like, have a shot of a globe. Is this on the kitchen table? There's a shot of a globe, which is fine. I would love to know where more places are in the world. But then a fucking pair of Air Force Ones on the kitchen island? I mean, this right here probably got him fired from the Valley. Anyways, and they're talking to Jack goes, I'm really excited to have the guys over, kind of see my new, I don't want to call it a bachelor pad, but I mean, I guess I'm a bachelor and it's my pad. So yeah, it's a bachelor pad. Huh, okay. I just totally undercut that. Then we go into Cruz's room. Does a child need a 70-inch flat screen TV in his room? I don't know. But Jack's like, this is Cruz's room. He's got a walk-in closet. He's got a full bath, full shower, bidet for his butt. In a talking head, he goes, my main thing was how good it can be for Cruz. His room is bigger than mine. He's got plenty of room to play. His room is not bigger than Jax's. Maybe his room was bigger than Jax's when he was a kid. Also, Brittany let us know on Watch What Happens Live last night that Cruz maybe has spent the night over there, or been over to Jax's place 10 times in the last year and a half. So, that room is not getting tons of use, but hopefully if Jax keeps his nose clean, that he can spend more time, But Jax is like, so this will be his room when his mom lets me have him. Bitches, fucking women. Huh, can you believe that? Ugh. Jax is like, this big TV has all the channels. Like pay-per-view, Spice Channel, Skinamax, Anyways, hey, maybe you guys can report back to Brittany and say, hey, that room's pretty pimp. maybe just say it's a nice room. Let's not like use the word pimp in regarding to your son's, Anyways, now we go out to his balcony. It's Jax's man open air space, his man open air cave. And he goes, yeah, this is up here is going to be my hangout. And Jason once again goes, wow, this is sick. This is sick, dude. This is what you do with friends. And then we see him go, there's like a mini fridge out there, and I literally am watching him grab a handle of, is this vodka or tequila? I think it's tequila. A bunch of Coors Light in there. So this is the mini fridge of sobriety right here. But Jason's like, yeah, awesome, man. And Jackson's like, this fridge is full stock with beer. You guys want a beer? And a talking head, he goes, yeah, I have a beautiful rooftop. It overlooks the city. And then all of a sudden Schwartz pops his head over his little balcony, because he lives right next door. And Jason's like, who's that guy? Trespass. I'm going to shoot you. Hey, what's up, Schwartz? We see Schwartz is carrying 2 huge candles and also a handle of Tito's vodka. Smart decisions all around. Jackson, the talking head, goes, I got my best friend living close to me for help, And then Jesse Lally pulls up. Jack says, I'm proud of this space. I haven't lived on my own in a very long time. And I think this new townhouse is better than my real house, to be honest. That house smells like butt. Not my butt. I mean, some of my butt, but it just has a butt smell. That place is stupid. And I fucking hated all the fucking wood art that said our names. Yeah, this is a cool place, not my old place. Stupid. I hate pools. For some reason, we see a plane dart across the sky. I don't know if this is like advertising for Southwest. But anyways, Jax is talking to the men on his balcony, and he's like, so the other day, right? I'm at the house. Brittany's yelling and screaming at me. Sounds like a woman. Am I right, guys? We flash back to last week's episode where Brittany's like, don't talk to me unless it's about Cruz. Cruz is not going over to your house anytime soon. He's telling the guys, she's literally texting me every day since then, talking to me about the house, talking to me about what flowers she's putting in. One day you're hot, the next day you're cold. In a talking head, he goes, you tell me you don't want me to be around? Fine. Then stop calling me the next day, asking me about the flowers in the front yard. I bet Jax just totally took a chainsaw to those flowers. It's like, did you destroy my flowers? Don't talk to me. Jax says, you tell me that you hate me. Like, what the fuck do you want? And then Jason goes, so would you say she's breadcrumbing you? I love that people in the Valley are using terminology that Ariana used on season 11 of Vanderpump Rules. It's like we got like little pieces of knowledge and then the men are using it. And I always think that's such a shame. And they're usually using it in the fucking wrong way, the terminology. I think that's just fucking weird. But you remember that scene, right? About when Ariana said that. So breadcrumbing, you guys, if you already don't know, breadcrumbing is when you give an individual just enough morsels of attention to keep them interested or hooked into the relationship or situationship without any intention of really committing. So now they're saying, is Brittany breadcrumbing you? Yeah, she's fucking whole loaf of bread, dude. Fucking whole loaf. Ariana actually used the term breadcrumbing to describe Taylor and Olandria's relationship on this season of Love Island, for those of you keeping score at home. But I just think it's interesting when men use these therapized, that's not a word, those kind of terms, and it's dangerous. Jax goes, yeah, this is what Jax agrees with Jason. Yeah, this is what you call breadcrumbing. Did you see Cruz's room? And Jessica goes, great room, solid room. Jax goes, as far as baby-proofing, because obviously I'm trying to move forward with getting Cruz to get here. Luke, he made the idea of getting like a universal camera so Brittany feels comfortable so she can see the baby at night too. And then when he's not here, I can use it for OnlyFans content. And Jax goes, I think that would be a good like olive branch. And Jesse goes, Baby Gates 2 as well. Let's do that. Which, yeah, 4 stories. Let's do Baby Gates, definitely. And Jackson's like, yeah, baby Gates. Yeah, no, I knew about the baby. Yep, Baby Gates. On the Baby Gates. Definitely Baby Gates. This is what with a reality show professional like Jax Taylor, is that in this scene and the final scene of this episode, he's so aware of, he can't help but have his natural self shine through, for better or worse. But he knows, he's like, this scene, I'm going to talk about these good things that I'm planning to do. Has he done any of these things? Brittany said he has never put in that camera. None of these things. So he's saying it for our benefit. He's saying to look a caring, concerned parent. And I'm not saying he's not a caring, concerned parent, but he's taking it to such an extreme because he wants to show us how good of a parent he is. Luke says, hey, like your place is going to pass the test, but I think she's more concerned about your lifestyle. You know, you have to prove to her that you're not partying. Jack's like, shut up, Luke. Get out of here. You're losers. Leave. I don't want you here. But Luke hits it on the head. Like, you know, I think your place is going to pass the sniff test, unless there's a lot of butts in here. But, you know, you doing extracurriculars with random girls up here. And Jack's like, oh, my God, I would never have a girl in here with him here. I would ask Cruz to leave if that happened. Are you kidding me? I mean, if there's a hot girl, I mean, Cruz, you gotta hit the road, bud, right? No, I would never do that. I would never do that. I expect the same from her. You know, dirty men going around there. And then Jesse goes, where's Danny Booko, by the way? And then Jack goes, who? He knows. He knows what's coming. He knows what this scene is about. And then Jack goes, oh, Danny. Well, I'm serving alcohol here, so I'm assuming he's not allowed to come here. Which is so funny because it's like two things. Like, yeah, the Danny alcohol situation, but also, what about the you and alcohol situation, you dummy? What are you talking? Oh, well, I'm serving cocaine here, so I'm assuming none of you guys should be around. Luke goes, wait, Jax, what, you got some kind of problem with Danny? Like, what is your problem, like, with just between you two? Like Luke said, just between you two. I don't want to get in this. And Jack's like, what's going on? And Luke's like, yeah, because I don't get it. And he goes, oh, Luke. He's just a little two-faced, in my opinion. A little two-faced. In my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. He has called me, no joke, and not exaggeration, at least 5 times, screaming and yelling. And I've called her because your husband is drunk and can't even walk out of the bar. She comes in, Danny, I told you not to act like this. There's a shot of Schwartz with Schwartz's dog in his lap, and the dog is so tired of her. That's who we never really give enough attention to these dogs putting themselves on the line in these reality shows. Archie Bador, Shannon's dog, another dog. You can just tell they're checked out by a certain season, right? Jackson's like, when you come to my bar and my business partners single-handedly have to pull me aside and say, you know what? We are going to get sued if he keeps doing what he's doing. Okay, so now if Jax wasn't Jax, this would be really interesting information. But I would also then say, wait, your business partners never pulled you aside and been like, Jax, we're really concerned you're doing big fat rails of cocaine here at the bar with your name on it. That is concerning. There's also a rumor going around about you sleeping with a staff member here. We're very concerned. But also, mainly, it's your friend Danny. But mainly, we're concerned about Danny. So it's like the unreliable narrator. We can't trust this guy to tell us this story. Now, I do believe Danny is a very sloppy drunk, and I think he needs to quit drinking, point blank, period, end of story. But coming from the mouth of Jax Taylor, you have undercut any seriousness in this conversation off the bat. And Jackson's like, we're going to get sued if he keeps doing what he's doing. And then he has the audacity to come to me the next day and be like, well, this is what you should do with your wife. And you should be this way and this way. And Jackson's like, I mean, you're fucking feeling up girls the fucking day at my bar. So he's upset because Danny gave him advice on how to handle the Brittany situation. And there's like this weird suspicion that Jax asked for this advice and then got upset when Danny gave it to him, which is a whole other level of darkness. But then Jax is just upset that why. And by the way, remember, with the article that Kate Arthur wrote for Variety, we knew that this was planning to be a Danny takedown season, and leading the charge was Jax Taylor, who had made multiple calls to cast members trying to get them to go with this, right? Jason in a talking head says, I think part of what's getting Jax worked up about Danny is the fact that Jax has made mistakes. And when he makes mistakes, those mistakes are discussed among the entire group. Meanwhile, Danny makes mistakes, and if anybody calls him out on it, they get attacked. It is understandable, though, why to be frustrated. Now, Jason, I understand. If reality shows didn't exist in this universe in which you are so-called friends, I would understand that completely. Unfortunately, this is where, hey, man, it's hard to be the king. Jax Taylor, the self-proclaimed king of this show. We also have known Jax's behavior since 2013. So yes, if Jax does something, it is going to make a bigger wave. That is just the nature of show. That's showbiz, baby. We are still getting to know Danny. Trust me, if Danny continues down this path, he's going to have a very difficult 3rd, 4th, 5th season and however long this goes. So I'm glad that people find this understandable of why he'd be frustrated, but you have to also take in all of the context and the extenuating circumstances in this. And I think Jason knows that, which is frustrating to hear him say this, is like, dude, are you shitting me? Like, you literally have thrown furniture around your soon-to-be ex-wife. Luke says, I had lunch with Danny yesterday. He said he hasn't drank in 3 weeks. He didn't drink at all in Hawaii. And Jack says, I don't believe that. And Schwartz is like, you know what, Jax? He's putting in work. He's putting in work. Schwartz actually making the point of like, this is what it looks like when somebody works on themselves. We have had no like spooky Blair Witch camera of Danny trying to kick alcohol of like, ah, I've got major FOMO. He's in Santa Clarita detoxing. Luke says, Jax, why would you say you don't believe that? And Jax is like, I'm allowed to have my opinion of somebody. I can have my opinion. It's a free country last time I checked. I voted. I'm a voting, tax-paying American citizen. He doesn't pay his taxes and he didn't vote. Luke says, well, he knows we had beers in his backyard, essentially. And then tonight, and we flash to this Luke-Danny conversation from the other day, and Luke telling Danny, I noticed you didn't drink in Hawaii. And Danny's like, yeah. I haven't drank in a few weeks. Yeah. We cut back in this scene. Luke tells Jax he wasn't included in the last couple of guy things, which, by the way, that's pretty good. You don't want to be included in these guy things. And Jax is like, okay. We cut to one of these guy things where Luke is asking Jesse Lally, where's Danny? Or no, Jesse Lally is saying, where's Danny? Also, have you noticed Jesse in a couple of these scenes is wearing a white baseball hat with like weird embroidery that says Lally Estates? Is Jesse Lally opening a winery? Is he soft launching a wine brand? I think we've got our first clue right here, folks. But Jesse's like, where is Danny? And Jax is like, drinking somewhere. You fucking knob, dude. You just got out of a mental health / rehab facility / Taco Bell / Dunkin' Donuts. What are you doing commenting on anybody's drinking at this point? Jackson, this scene goes, you know what? We all fuck up. Look at the situation I'm in. But take accountability for what you've done. Okay, let's stop and just laugh. Accountability, that's amazing. Oh my God. I mean, did they have to redo this scene a couple of times? Did any of the guys bust out laughing? Jackson's like, don't preach onto others what you have done. This is fucking Inception. Isn't Jax preaching to others on what Jax has literally done? He goes, until you have right your rights and wronged your wrongs or whatever. I'm not making any sense at this point. And he goes, did I do that right? And Jesse's like, no, you didn't, Jax. No. And Luke's like, righted your wrongs. Yeah, that's what I meant. Get out of here, Luke. I'm serious. You just can't come and preach to people unless you have a fucking clean slate. Also, we never saw this conversation between Janny and Jax on camera. So like Jax is holding all of this for a scene, once again, that we don't see on camera. And then Schwartz is like, live, laugh, love. And that gets a great laugh with the gang. You know, Schwartz, I'm comic relief. Ha ha ha. Remember when I let Sandoval masturbate in my bathroom with Raquel on FaceTime? Crazy times. Come back from commercial and we were over at Jesse Lally's place and he's talking to their dog and he's like, you should sleep in here because Isabella doesn't want to sleep in this bedroom any longer. She has taken residence in Cruz's room at Jax's bachelor pad. But Jesse's talking to the dog and then in a talking head he goes, I think there was a lot of resolution in Hawaii. And we flash back to Hawaii, and he's talking to Aaron and Michelle. And he's like, Michelle, look at me. Aaron told me last night before you walked up that he was in love with you. And I said, I'm happy for you. And Michelle's smiling. Yee. In a talking head, he says, I think Michelle's very cold and guarded, a frigid bitch. He didn't say that. And I think Hawaii went a long way to sort of breaking off some of the ice. And we see Michelle coming into this place that they used to share. And Jesse does these weird kind of, I would say somewhat flirty, because she's like kind of dressed in this dress. And he's like, you didn't have to dress up just to come to the house. And she's like, I have something after this. So it's like, why even say, just don't comment on how she looks, man. It's a hard habit to break, but you know. In a talking head, he says, there's a real opportunity for some sort of closure. So he sits Michelle down for this conversation. He says, in the end, I know that it takes two people to meet in the middle, and neither one of us were there. Now, we do have to study this from a 360 angle, right? So on its face, I think this is a very positive scene where Jesse is like relinquishing control. He doesn't want to have the burden of this bad feeling anymore. That's really good, right? Now, we know from Watch What Happens Live last night that Jesse, bless me. Oh my God, did anybody say bless you? Thank you. Jesse is not really... See, this is what I'm saying. When you have something like Jax on the cast, it's easier to fly under the radar on certain behaviors. And I think Jesse has wisened up to the reality show game really quickly. So I think he knows, like, listen, I'm going to portray... Like, who knows? I don't know these people in real life. But I will say I've watched a lot of reality television. It's like Jesse understands the power of this forum. And so he is going to try... He realizes now he's going to try to make himself look good after making himself look insanely bad earlier in the season in Santa Barbara, right? Is a smart way to almost rebrand in a certain way, right? And I think he's very believable about it. It's so interesting. It's like I was thinking about the Trump Epstein stuff. Don't worry, I'm not going to go on a rant. But, is that a lot of Epstein stuff's coming out. And, it's like J.D. Vance, the vice president, who would actually take the presidency if something happened to Trump. He just has to kind of sit in the wings and like see what happens. And then sometimes I think Jax is the Trump in this situation and Lally is the J.D. Vance. Just try to stabilize the boat. Don't rock the boat. And then season 3, you can not be the head of the valley, but you can be a strong character. I don't know. That's just a thought. Anyways, Michelle's talking to the dog saying, you're coming home with me today. Yes. She's like, how are you doing, Michelle? I'm okay. We were just in Hawaii, so that's nice. And he goes, how do you feel about the trip? Overall, I feel all right. I'm glad that you finally had the conversation with Aaron that you've been stressing about. There were some moments I was a little overwhelmed, but it was nice. He's a very handsome man. I like the cut of his jib. I'm glad that that's all settled. It's not a disaster, and I can see a point one day where we all hang out together. And I want to be friends with you. I've always said that. It's just hard because I can't trust you. And you can't expect to treat me a certain way. Call me names. And we flash back to 6 weeks earlier where she goes, you're a disaster. Look at you. And you're a hooker, so it's fine. I am not doing this. We cut back and he goes, and then apologize and pretend it didn't happen. We were both trying to win and one-up each other, Michelle, and I think whatever power I have left, the tears are starting, his lip is quivering. I give it to you. I bequeath it to you to do whatever you want with it. Say whatever you want about me because I'm just so tired. You don't think I'm tired? You think that this divorce is my fault and it makes me upset? Jesse goes, no, it's not your fault. I'm telling you right now, the divorce isn't your fault. The divorce is our fault. Okay. That's growth. That's right. I take full accountability. Cut, print. Let's see. This is great. For the things that I did to put pressure on our relationship. So that's big, right? On its face, that plays very well. He goes, it wasn't your fault that you fucked that hot honey man, Aaron. Michelle in the talking head goes, this is the first time Jesse's taking accountability. Today is the best first step I could ask for in him possibly changing. And she's like, well, thank you for saying that. That's cool. Just chisel off a little bit of resentment and I will chisel off a little bit of irrationality. And then we can build off of that foundation. Why don't we not chisel in? Why don't we not use any sort of tool in this scenario? But Michelle goes, okay. Okay, Jesse says. Give me a hug. Do we need to do the hug? Give me a let's just not touch and talk about physical appearance. Do you feel that? I think you know little Jesse. He misses you. In a talking head, she goes, I know Jesse very well, but I'm choosing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I just hope that now, after all of these conversations and time, that we can finally get to an okay place so that we can co-parent and be happy. And so our child Isabella can see that we can one day be in the same room and if not possibly be friends. I want that, Mom. It's me, Isabella. I want that. And then Michelle goes, on that note, I'm having a little Zen party. So I'm going to invite you. He's like, a Zen party? That's stupid as fuck. No, no, he just says a Zen party. And then they do this weird like Zen, and like a kaleidoscope kind of effect. And then we flash back to Michelle telling other people it's going to be at Yamashiro. Aaron's like, that's a great idea. It'll be great. It'll be great. She goes, I feel drained from the last year of my life. And I just need a Zen. And they do the Zen effect. Zen. A Zen party. And Zen energy from everybody. And so then we see Aaron and Michelle FaceTiming the gang. Like, Nia, do you want to join us? I love that this is like, they all know it's like the last night of filming. So everybody has to be like, yeah. And Nia's like, yeah, I'll be there. But she says, I want everybody to be happy for once. Not with this gang. What are you talking about? Jesse goes, most important question, Michelle. What's the attire? Oh, you're goofy. And then he goes, should I wear my ayahuasca beanie? And we flash back to last season. Remember when Jesse came back from doing ayahuasca and he was like, I was blind and now I can see. And Michelle's like just looking in the hills, like behind him, not even staring at him. And she goes, no. Isabel's like, Dad, do not wear the ayahuasca beanie. But Jesse goes, I lost my beanie at the chateau and it didn't turn up in the lost and found at the chateau. And then Michelle goes, I threw it away. He goes, did you really? And she goes, uh-huh. Okay, now that's grounds for, no, but she goes, I'm just kidding. And then Jesse goes, it was about to go real south because I love that beanie. Next season on The Valley, Jesse fights tooth and nail for his beloved beanie. We get out of that scene, thank God, and we're over at Brittany's house. Not Jackson, Brittany's house. And she's walking up with Cruz and a yoga mat, and she got a new front doormat. She's like, Cruz, we got a new doormat. It says Sharks and Shorts. No, it says the Cartwrights. Yay! Cruz, doormat. And the calligraphy on this doormat is why I feel like we were like 10 seconds away from her using Comic Sans. Like the Cartwrights, papyrus. I knew whenever I moved back into this house, I had to take Zach's completely out of it. I had to make it my own because this is my house now. He's getting taken off the mortgage, he's getting taken off the deed, he's getting taken off everything. Good for you, Brittany. Like, for real. Like, let's fucking help her pay this shit off. So they walk in, you see another sign just hits you immediately at the front door. It says farmhouse-ish. All the charm without the farm. Farmhouse-ish. All the charm without farm. I'll have to get that one. But Brittany goes, if I want a guy to come over, they don't need to see Jax Taylor everywhere in my house. We missed the Doute scene where she came in and saged the place. Anyways, Doute comes over like, hey, girl. Hi, girl. You want to do shots? So Doute comes in all casually comfy, cruises outside, jumping around the backyard. I will say there's a beautiful gate right at the pool. So Cruz cannot get in the pool. That is very smart. I think it's actually what you legally are supposed to do. So, Brittany's like, oh, Cruz, what do you do today, Cruz? And she's like, well, we went to the doctor early this morning. How was Al? Well, so Wednesdays was Luke's spermie appointment, Kristen says. And you guys, we cut back to the sperm thing, and the doctor's like, we want the count of the sperm to be over 20 million. And I'm so excited to say, Luke, that you have 58 million per milliliter. Oh my God. I thought last week they were kind of insinuating it's not like insanely strong sperm, but this week we find out that he is in competition with Kyle Cook from Summer House for the most dominant sperm on Bravo TV. In fact, when I heard this, I was like, this has got to be some kind of spin-off show where Luke and Kyle. We need Luke to go to the summer house, and then they both need to ejaculate into a cup, and then we put those swimmers next to each other and see which swimmer goes fast. You can tell it's Kyle's because his sperm has like little mullets on him, and Luke's, you can tell it's Luke's because they have like these little like kind of manicured beards on the sperm swimmers. But I think like battle of the network sperms. I mean, Bravo, if you're listening, can we do something with that? I'd love to announce at BravoCon. But anyways, Doute says to Brittany, I had an appointment to get an ultrasound today to check on my eggs, my follicles, to see what's going on with me. And she's like, it could be my body. After the appointment, I get a text message that's like a link for 4 prescriptions. It is like a steroid, an anti-inflammatory, an antibiotic, and a shot, like a hormone shot. And I got an email from the fertility clinic. Infertility was the word. Over and over and over and over. Infertility prescriptions are not covered. Infertility testing is not covered. Infertility shots are not covered. And I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Who the fuck said I was infertile? Infertile is actually a term that is like medically used, she says, for someone who tries to get pregnant for a year and cannot. And everybody's like, yeah, And Doute's like, I wasn't even a patient anymore. Like, I felt like I was a statistic. I mean, over 40, infertile, and Brittany and Doute are both tearing up. Doute in a talking head says, basically, it could have said, Dear Kristen, sorry that you're a geriatric infertile asshole of a woman, but don't worry, we might have help for you. Well, Doute, there's no way they can legally send that kind of email. But she says it's heartbreaking, and it is. Imagine, I mean, like, listen, I'm a dude. I've got so much, easy shit for, like, I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum, and I mean, but it is, knowing a little bit about this myself, it is so depressing. It is. Like, take all the Jacks and the Danny and all that shit away. Like, this is real life shit. And like, sometimes, I hear from people like, well, I get it. But it's like, whatever with the storyline. I think this is an important storyline. I do. I think so many people go through this and not enough people talk about it. And they feel really alone in these types of journeys. And also on top of it, how expensive it is. Like, this stuff is not covered by insurance. These are like real life concerns. And you could say, oh, they're reality stars. Like, they're not billionaires. Like, it's just not. But she says to Brittany, the doctor recommended that I start on hormones. I'm like, the doctor is Alex Baskin. He's like, we need to start you on hormones for season 3. We want you at a level 10. We feel like you're at a level 6 right now. But Doute says, if it doesn't work, the hormones, we go full-fledged into the IUI. And if that doesn't work, then it's IVF. And then I just need a minute to breathe. And Brittany's like, well, try not to, don't think about having to do IUI. Like, this is what you want, Kristen. So go for it, let's do a shot. No, but she goes, don't be scared. I feel like you may be a little bit timid about it because it's not what you envision for how you would make a child. And Doute goes, it's not that we don't want to take those steps. It's, if necessary, I just didn't realize it was going to be like today. If we just got pregnant, she goes, we just got pregnant less than a year ago, Brittany. To have to like swallow the word infertile, it just feels like so out of left field. Everybody's like, it's going to happen for you. Manifest. Let's vision board. We'll be like vision board for you. Going to be egg, fertile. My vision board, shots, and hot man, and decorating goods from Home Goods. And Doute's pointing at her stomach going, where's the golden age? Come on, bitch, produce it. God, how fucking frustrating. Our bodies fail us all the time. We're supposed to love and appreciate our bodies, but my God, I've hated my body my entire life. And, our bodies fail us so much. Doute says, this is the most stressed I've ever been. Fuck the whole summer. Fuck Janet, fuck Jax, fuck all of them. That breaks my heart for you. It does. And we have like piano chords. Dong, dong. Doute says, I don't know if this is ever going to happen for me. Now, the good news is, this is like the one spoiler I love, is that we know it did happen for her and Luke. So it's like a happy spoiler. Like it'd be so horrible if we didn't know, if the journey was still uncompleted, incomplete. And we do know. So it's kind of nice to see these scenes. And someday their daughter will be able to see how much her parents wanted her, right? And Brittany's like, I don't know why I'm tearing up. I just want this for you so bad. Which is nice. And then we cut to commercial. Okay, so we pick back up and we have a scene between Benji and Zach at this place, what is it called, Norma's or something? And it has an extremely small table, which is super weird. Like it seems like a cocktail, like a little loungy table instead of an actually dinner table. And Benji, has been a mute for a lot of this season. So I think it'll be interesting to see in season 3. Like I'm pre-staging scenes in my head of like, will Benji and Zach ever fight? I think Benji seems like a really funny, fun character. And Zach, you can't argue, has had a really good season. People really seem to have responded to Zach. But I think, as Janet has said, there seems to be skeletons in his closet, but it's not on camera. It's very interesting. We'll see where it goes. And Zach obviously has a crash out at the end of this episode. So Sean, the waiter, comes out. Sean is getting he's going to put this on his IMDb. He's like, what can we start you with? And Zach's going to start with caviar. He's making that Valley season 2 money. And, he's like, oh, amazing. What are we drinking? And they order, and Zach's like, when are we not drinking? And they order the Dirty Dancing and the Porn Star. Great drink names. And the waiter's like, okay, cool. You guys are meant for each other. This guy is eating this scene. He is killing this scene. I want this waiter to be a recurring character next season. So they're talking about how weird the chairs are. And they ask, what should we cheers on? And Zach's like, you cheer something, Benji. And Benji's like, cheers to our life in LA. And first of all, I'm just like, Benji, I'm so glad that you're talking. Like, this is amazing. This is growth. So Zach says, it's been 3 weeks since Benji has been here. How are you feeling, Benji? And Benji's like, I fucking hate it. No, he's like, I hate Janet. No, he says, I feel like I'm not just visiting anymore. And Zach's very smiley. He says, this is a good trial period. And Zach's like, well, it is just beginning. I feel like we still have a lot to go through. But our next big hurdle is laundry. No, our next big hurdle is the thing that happens on my birthday. And I was like, what happens on your birthday? But no, he says, which is so great that the Canadian court decided to do your divorce on my birthday. So that's it. Benji's divorce will be finalized on Zach's birthday. And Zach's like, that will be a great birthday present for me. We joke about it, but I know that is something that is like super hard for you. And Benji opens up. He says his ex, he was the one that wanted the divorce. So I was still in love with him, Benji says. And it was really hard. And he said over the course of a year and a half, it started to fade. The caviar gets delivered on this important conversation. Like, this waiter just is a scene stealer. But Benji says, I want this divorce now. I want to move on with my life and be happy and not be tied down to the past. And hopefully I will. And Zach's like, out with the old, in with the new? Huh? Yes? In a talking head, Zach says, once this divorce is finalized, I mean, we've already moved in together. I don't know, maybe wedding bells? Season 3 of The Valley, folks. Have we had a gay wedding? We probably have, right? I'm trying to go through my Bravo encyclopedia in my short-sighted memory. Have we had that yet? But I feel like that could be a season 3, right? But Zach says he knows what his plan is. And I don't know what his plan is, but Zach wants a ring. Zach says, hey, babe, I have a surprise for you. I got Scrotox. Oh, Benji, fucking run. Run for the hills, my friend. Get out of here. Benji's like, what? That's how my last marriage ended. No, Benji's like, wait, what? And he's like, scrotum Botox. Scrotum Botox. Are you serious, Zach? And then we flash back to that horrific Scrotox scene earlier. And remember, Scrotox drops your balls lower, which I don't know why that would be. I don't know. To each their own, right? Zach says, you haven't said one thing. It's hurt my feelings about my scrot because you haven't not noticed. And Benji's like, why would you get Scrotox? Benji being the voice of the audience. And Zach goes, I did this for you. And Benji goes, I didn't ask for it. But they're laughing. It's fun Scrotox humor. And Zach's like, you're just in shock, aren't you? We're all in shock, Zach. We're all in shock. Anyways, now we talk about Michelle's Zen party. This will be the first time that Zach sees Janet. He lets us know since our boat showdown. And she says, I'm surprised she didn't jump off that boat to get away. And Benji laughs. And Benji goes, she probably wanted to toss you off the boat. Benji, once again, the voice of reason. And Zach's like, she's probably like, Jason, toss him off. And then Zach goes, oh, wait, that sounds sexual. Season 3 of The Valley. Zach says it's the most annoying thing that Brittany can't see what Janet is doing. How long are we going to have this storyline? Like, just accept that Brittany's going to be friends with both parties. Zach goes, she just wants to like brush it off. We flash back to the boat where Brittany's like, you guys, come on. As Brittany's shining a flashlight into her boat food. Come on, you guys, come on, shots. Zach says the problem with Janet is how she has treated me in the past and escalated things that didn't need to be and lied about so many things. I think we're at the point where to be able to move forward in friendship or anything, it just has to be talked about. No more of this like sweeping it under the rug. Zach says, I don't know if I want a friendship or not with Janet. I don't know what it's going to take for Brittany to stop being her friend. And if the pants were on the other person, I would never do what Brittany is doing. I would be supportive. I would probably already drop Janet as a friend years ago, as a friend forever ago. Benji says it's just weird that she is manipulating all these situations that she's not a part of. And Zach's like, exactly. I'm going to get more Scrotox just for that comment. And then they're looking at each other all lovey-dovey. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. I feel like how much longer are we going to be able to extend that Brittany storyline, the Janet storyline? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and at some point, I also feel that Zach actually just wants to be friends with Janet, but doesn't trust Janet. But I don't know. It's like weird vibes. Weird vibes on weird vibes. So we now get a round robin of cast members getting ready for this Zen party for the last hurrah. And Jesse is talking to his daughter, Isabella, and he's like, do you know what last hurrah means? She's like, I don't, Dad. Tell me what it means. It means the last party. How do we party? Like this. And he's putting his fist up like a raver, like an EDM guy. Zzz, zzz. And Isabella's like, zzz, zzz, zzz. Let's party, Dad. Yeah! It's one of my last scenes of the season. I hope they bring Isabella out at the reunion just so she can just fucking go to town on these folks. Because Isabella would be like, Jax, you're a fucking loser. Janet, calm down. Doute, Luke, make up with Janet. Come on. Anyways, Nia's getting glam as Danny's like, I'm watching the babies. I got it. All good. We see Janet getting glam, Scheana getting glam, Jason saying, hey, do you guys want a drink? And Janet goes, I can't be wasted around certain people because I will yell at them. The producers are like, you pour her the biggest drink you fucking can right now. And then Brock's there. He's like, you're going to let other people affect how you operate? As he's pouring a beer. Maybe you shouldn't be drinking, Brock, after this week. But anyways, they're all laughing, getting ready, glamming. The laughs are being had because they know they're not going to have them tonight at this Zen party. So now we see shots of Hollywood Boulevard. We see the sun setting, and we see Yamashiro, the famous restaurant that's been here for over 100 years at the top of a hill in Los Angeles, with just some of the most stunning views that you can ever have. So it is really nice. Food so-so. Anyway, we see Michelle and Aaron walking in, and Michelle's like, everyone's going to be so impressed with this view. It's spectacular. Yes. Woo. And then we see that Michelle has a box of gifts that she has put together for all of the cast. I hope everybody loves this as much as me. And Aaron's like, you did such a creative job, babe. Can I see your boobs? Anyways, this is actually nice. Michelle talks about her family growing up, always taking her to Yamashiro. My mom used to like to take nice pictures of me every year. And we see all of these pictures of Michelle growing up. And Michelle, my God, Isabella looks so much like her. But she says Yamashiro is her happy place. But now that she's dealing with her mom, who's very sick, she says she sees life very differently. We flash back to 1 month earlier when she was over at Lala's place talking about her mom's first chemo treatment, and it didn't work, and it's killing her from the inside out. And she doesn't think she's going to have much longer with her. And she says this has been a horrible chapter in her life, and she just wants peace. Life is short. She just wants to be happy. And my God, I mean, just all the stuff I've gone through with my mom, and I'm sure you guys have stories like this as well, that I completely understand what Michelle is talking about. And we do know that, unfortunately, Michelle lost her mom late last year. And so it's just, your heart goes out to her. Like, it's way bigger than any reality TV show storyline or any dumb joke I can make. It's just horrific. Everybody starts to walk in. Nobody looks super happy to be there. They're like, hey, what's going on, man? Last party of the season. Yeah. We see Zach and Jesse walk in like it's like Reservoir Dogs. Zach's like, "Ugh, let's go." He's like buttoning his cufflinks. He's like, "I'm ready to fucking film." There's like a bald guy in between them. I'm like, who's the bald guy? Are they introducing a new character? But Jax comes in, hugs Michelle. "Thanks for the invite. I'm the star of this fucking show. Let's go. Good to see you. Good to see you, honey man." And then Brittany, Doute, and Luke walk in and he's like, "Hello, woo!" And Zach looks nervous. He's like chomping on gum. Chomping on gum. So everybody's doing light pleasantries. Brock is there as well. Michelle is directing traffic. And they're in a circle. And Zach's like, "Oh my God, why are we all in a circle?" And Michelle's like, "Thank you for everyone coming to my Zen party." And they do the Zen effect again. And she's like, "I love crystals. They're very important to me, and I have them around my house, and I think they're a really good energy. So I personally went through crystals for every single one of you, and I wrote a note for you. Jax, you have this brick of coal." No. So she starts handing out these crystals. Danny's like, "That's very thoughtful." She says she grew up with a very spiritual family. Her mom absolutely loved crystals and stones and healing. And she believes in it. And so she's passing them out. "This one's for you, Jesse, so Jesse and I can get along." She goes, "If Jesse and I can get along, then I think everyone can get along." Jax is chugging what looks like just vodka and ice. In a talking head, Jax doing what Jax does. "I don't believe in any of that shit. I don't believe in stars. I don't believe in astrology. I don't believe in reading palms. I don't believe any of that shit. It's all garbage. I don't really think anything and can heal this group completely, to be honest. I'm so fucking sweaty right now. I don't believe in anything. I believe in Santa." So there's a little note in each one of these, an affirmation from Michelle, and everybody's going to read theirs. Jax's is first. "Dear Jax, your strength and courage are truly inspiring." Jasmine's is, "May these crystals bring you deep peace, bring you moments of deep peace and joy." Brittany goes, "I know you will start your new beginning and find true love one day." And Jax is like, his face is like, "What? Who's going to love that person? Ugh." Jason's is, "May these crystals inspire confidence and attract success in every step you take, and that you no longer have to get tattoos on your body." Shannon's is, "Bring you love, calm, and a touch of magic as you embrace this beautiful new chapter with your baby." Nia's is, "Take a moment to recharge. You deserve it." Danny's is, "I hope you can move to Santa Clarita." No. "I hope these crystals empower and remind you of your incredible inner strength." Janet kind of smiles. Like, they make it seem like an evil smile. They're like, "Hee hee hee hee." Kristen's is, "Sending you strength." And she starts tearing up. "Strength and hope on your fertility journey." Zach says, "I hope you can survive the scrotox." And he goes, "The answers that I seek are within me and all around me." Jesse's is, "May these crystals bring you serenity and ease your worries. Affirmation, with every breath I release, the anxiety within become more and more calm." And then Jasmine goes, "Snap, snap, snaps." And Brock's like, "Yeah, all right, all right." I don't know. So now we're ready to party. We got that garbage out of the way, as Jackson. We got this garbage scene about crystals out of the way. Fuck crystals. And then Luke, talking to Jax, goes, do you want to do a shot? And Jack's like, "Yeah, I'll do a shot. Haven't had a drink in an hour." So the rehab facility, you might argue it didn't work, but my God, it's like it's like 1 hour at a time. He hasn't had a drink in an hour. That's amazing. But like the fucking, like, why? But then anyways, Jax goes up to the bar. He's like, "Can I have a Coke Zero as well? Like a Diet Coke chaser? A little ice after that shot?" Jason and Janet are like, they're like horny. Like, they're like, did they make an agreement to like just hump each other during this whole scene? Jason like keeps kissing her. We're like, "Jason, we get it. We get it." And then Brock's like, "Hey, honey, give me a kiss." And then Scheana comes over. I'm like, "Brock, you don't deserve those kisses right now." And then Jax comes like swooping into Brittany. Hey, TJ, can I talk to you real quick? Like, it's not, bro, I promise. Come here. I had the guys over to the house, and they fucking thought it was badass, and I wanted Luke and Jason to see the place. And I had an idea with Luke that we got, we were spitballing, and I want to put a universal camera that I put into the house where you can see Cruz's room a little bit. Everybody's like, "Well, whenever we get to that point, I think it's a great idea." Yeah. I just don't want, like, the other cameras and the other things. Yeah, I was thinking about installing a body camera on you, Brittany, on one of those boobs I bought you, huh? And he goes, I don't care what you do, Brittany. And she goes, you don't care what I do? We flash back to scenes of the season about him like, he's not going to spy on me. Yeah, I'm going to cover these cameras. Two can play this game, buddy. And then Brittany's mom going, now he's blocked by Brady. Shots. Mom shots. Jackson, the scene goes, I guess just what hurt me the most is like, you did this divorce thing while I was in rehab. You never even give me a shot. You did the fucking house thing while you were in rehab, dude. Brittany goes, I went to interview with a divorce lawyer. A divorce lawyer. Think about my options. And I'm like, showing her all these messages and doing all this stuff. And I was like, I have to do it now. Because there was a 2 for Tuesday deal. No, she goes, because if Jax gets out and I see him every day, I'm not going to be able to do it. And her voice is breaking. And Jax goes, you literally called me every name in the book. And then the next day you texted me pictures of flowers and like, look what I'm doing with the backyard. And Brittany goes, oh, do you know why I did that? Because you tried to gaslight me and make me think that I couldn't handle that house by myself. And I'm trying to prove to you and show you that, yes, I fucking can. I can plant flower. It's going to Brittany's garden. The secret garden. No, it's Brittany's garden. And then Jackson's like, okay, that didn't work. It's not about the house. It's the finances, which you'll see over the time is going to be real heavy. You know, it's like the garbage cans aren't going to move themselves. And Brittany goes, guess what, Jax? You are the reason why it became so expensive. Let me remind you why our house is so expensive, Brittany says in a talking head. Jax didn't pay the mortgage for at least 7 months. 7 months. And all these penalties and stuff get added onto it. Plus, he didn't pay his taxes for years. We flash back to her talking to the divorce lawyer, her saying he was so far behind on his taxes before we got married. I think it was like $1.2 million. I love the divorce lawyer in that scene. She's like, oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh my God. But he was going to go to jail if she didn't bail him out, if Brittany didn't bail him out. You know it's bad when a lawyer goes, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Our mortgage went from $8,000 to it's like $17,000 right now. Jeez Louise. My God, you guys, how can anybody be against Brittany? Brittany in a talking head rightfully says, he should be thanking me. In this scene, Brittany goes, Jax, you need to realize, I understand that, what I have done and realize. And Jax is like, everybody makes mistakes. I'm a work in progress. I honestly thought I was literally doing the right thing by being in therapy, by getting my own place and giving you guys the house. And Brittany's like, no, that was the dumbest thing you've ever done. What was I supposed to do? You put me and Cruz, both of us, in a very hard situation. No, I didn't. You live in mansions. Don't sit there and poor me. You had mansions. I saw that. I mean, it was nice, but I wasn't like, holy shit, is this Aaron Spelling's house? But he's like, it's unfair that I had to pay for all these months whenever you could have waited until I was ready to like, until my lease was over. Yeah, but that place would have been gone. It's the nicest place in North Hollywood. It's the nicest place in North Hollywood. You don't get an opportunity like that to live next to Tom Schwartz. And he's like, come on, you want to live next to Tom. No, I didn't. I really don't care about your little condo. I really don't. It's a townhouse. Okay, yeah, it's a townhouse. And she goes, what is wrong with you? He's Jax Taylor. He goes, I apologize because there's going to be bits. I'm not fully over all this. This is a decade of my life. I thought you were the girl I was going to spend I thought you were the girl that I was going to hate to spend the rest of my life with, you know? And he's like, do you think I thought anything different? When I went to the facility, I thought, okay, maybe she wants to see where I get out and see where I'm at. Jax, the entire time you were in rehab, no, not the entire time. Yeah, no, just the first, I love it. He's like, she didn't even finish like saying like, you were like, I know what she was about to say. He's like, no, just the first 2 weeks. No, the entire time until I blocked you. Because I didn't see my son. You were rage texting me because I blocked you for the last 2 weeks. Because you wouldn't let me see my son. Because you would like DM me and text me and love bomb me and all these things. And those were like the best 2 weeks of my life. I flowered plants. I was happy. I was going after I was doing shots. I was having fun. And he was hooking up with guys. And she goes, oh my God, Jax. Oh my God. It's fine. You do what you got to do. Fuck. We're divorced. You do what you got to do. You got womanly needs, I guess. Hey, so are we signing on the papers then? Well, I'm going to have a lawyer look at it. The lawyer is Jack. I'm going to have a lawyer. I'm going to go to law school first. It's going to be about 6 years, but yeah, I'm going to do it. You still haven't had time for a lawyer to look, Jack. No. And he goes, I'm going to wait up to the last day. Why? Just because. I wish he had a southern just because. Just because. Oh, what a dude. Dude, what story do you what do you think you're doing in this scene? Horrific. And he goes, why not? Why not? In a talking head, she goes, Jax went from my very best friend to do shorts with to the person that I loathe. He makes me so angry. I mean, his pores are greasy. His cheeks are greasy. His forehead's greasy. His veins popping out of his head. I just notice everything now. I love that Brittany is finally like, she's taking like the red pill. I think Brittany is like the Matrix. She's like seeing all of the ones and zeros like Keanu Reeves. She's like, oh my God, I'll see all the, oh my God, I see how it all is. You're greasy. You're greasy. Oh my God. She tells him, you are a narcissist. And for me to have to deal with you for the next 15 years. And Jack's like, no, this is going bad. I gotta go. This is going the wrong direction. You made it that direction, bub. In a talking head, Brittany goes, whenever I was madly in love with this man, I had my blinders on. And now I just see like a greasy man-child. I love that Brittany finally sees everything that we've seen. Oh my God, I see everything. Is that Lawrence Fishburne? And then Jax walks off and Brittany goes, all right, bye, deuces. Hey, bye, deuces. Shorts, deuces. Peace out, greasy man-child, small dick, needle dick, deuces. Shark, 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 shark. Zach, we pick up after the break. He's talking to Nia and Michelle, and he's like, oh my God, Aaron and I peed next to each other. I think we're brothers. We see Jax pouting in a corner, shaking his head. And Michelle goes, you weren't able to see anything, Zach. Stop, please. Jason kisses Janet again. I love you. Let's get tattooed on our lips. I love you. I love you. God, these people are baby number 2 right now. Nia goes up to the bar. She's like, hi, virgin, whatever I was ordering. This is where I'm like, this is where it's like, I feel like the producers are like, okay, Janet, you now have to go have a scene with Nia because she's ordering this virgin drink. And Janet like comes from the side. Hey, I was told I have to do a scene with you. And he's like, hi. And how are you? Good. And he's like, good, you look beautiful. And Janet's like, no, you do too. And he's like, when I saw you, I was like, she looks like Princess Jasmine today. And Janet's like, thank you. That's the best compliment ever. So we're on a nice start for this forced scene. Janet says, look, Nia, I know things have been not great and a lot's happened, but if there's anything that you want to talk about or get off your chest, I'm here. I want to listen, you know? So still it almost like Janet approaching him like, if there's anything insane with Danny, you can approach me. But I will say that that would never happen because Nia would never trust you at this point to ever entrust you with any kind of information or secrets or her actual feelings because she feels that Janet has attacked her all season, right? Janet in the talking head says, I do want Zen at this Zen party, and it feels like I owe Nia some sort of conversation or apology. I know that I've caused her some real pain, and she doesn't deserve that pain that has come from this whole situation. So Janet's like, I mean, subtext says that is meant to go to Danny. Nia goes, there's been a lot of hurt, and I'm still hurting. And because of that, I don't think it's more of like a space and breather kind of thing. In a talking head, she goes, I don't actually need space. I just don't want to talk to Janet. When Nia is forced to like actually tell her feelings, she knows exactly how she's feeling. Janet says, well, I'm sorry you're hurting. And again, I want to apologize that the words I used on the boat were harsh. Yeah. Essays. Assault allegations. Yeah, it's harsh. Yeah. And Nia just kind of like, okay. Nia in a talking head says, I truly feel like Janet's actions are unforgivable. I do think time heals all, Janet says. So if space is what you think you need and I think we need, I think that's best. And in that time, if anything comes up, I'm here. Like what, like a sale at Ross? Like what are we talking about? I don't know. This is such a forced scene that you can tell like both of them. It's like, dude, it's the finale. Say what you really want to say to each other. I mean, I feel like the producers were very disappointed in that scene. Okay, so who's next on the misery list here? Jesse goes up to Doute. He's like, can you sage me, please? Get the demons out. And so Doute's like, of course. Zach's like, I already stuck my sleeve in 2 tunas. I'm like, oh my God. And we see flashbacks of Zach. I don't know. He's sticking his hand in food, whatever. So Luke asks Jesse, like, hey, how you doing? You doing okay? And Jesse goes, I have my moments, Luke. I'll be honest. I have so much shit going on that, like, I get triggered easily. And Doute's like, it's not been an easy summer. That is so fucking fair. I'm trying to be growth, not show growth. And, you know, it's like going to Hawaii with my wife, you know, soon to be ex-wife and her boyfriend. Yes, that's truly insane. And most people would never do that in a million years, right? We can all agree that that is batshit crazy. And the financial shit I'm going through. See, I think Jesse has some bad financial issues, and I mean, he needs the Valley, I think, more than anybody. But he goes, single father, his voice is breaking again. Jesse's cried a lot of this episode. Single father stuff that I'm going through. Isabella's eating so much. I'm hungry, Dad. Give it to me. It's overwhelming right now, Kristen. And she's, crying. And a talking head goes, there's a lot to figure out. Michelle filed for divorce in the very beginning of the summer on May 1st. We have completely separated our business. I mean, my life is completely different. So how do you start over, but with a child? So we've decided to get rid of Isabella. But he tells Kristen, I'm so tired. And the last thing I want to do is come here and go to a Zen party. That's reality television, bud. You have to go to stupid Zen parties. But he goes, I'm not Zen. Look at me. I'm fucking not Zen. What if I lose the house? I lose custody. I lose my friends. I'm good with losing Jax, but the others. And I'm isolated and alone. That's a shitty feeling. I believe there's honesty in that. I do. Luke says, well, dude, bring Malibu and Isabella over to our house sometime. We need practice anyway, you know? Oh, my dad told me I have to come to this shithole. What's up, Luke? What's up, Doute? Call me Izzy. But Jesse goes, I mean, I appreciate that. I don't usually drive to the Valley. And we share a Valley laugh. Jesse says, I'm like, of all people I can think of to watch Isabella for an hour, let me call Kristen and Luke. What a difference a year makes. I mean, truly, think about where they were with last season. So that's growth in some way. And so we get out of that, and Janet gets a very strong pour of beer. Oh, my God. Oh, there's Logan. Oh, Logan is one of the managers of TomTom, and oh, that's awesome. I didn't see Logan the first time I watched this. Anyways, Janet's one drink of the night seems like a whole bottle. Danny tells Nia, this is my 7th water. My bladder. Jax looks over and goes, is he drinking? I'm tired of his bullshit games that he's playing around here. The waiter's like, sir, this is Yamashiro. I was just getting your drink order. Like that. No, Jax is talking to Jason. He's like, I'm sick of his bullshit. Like, oh, I'm not drinking. Bullshit. Jason and Aaron are listening to Jax. Jax seems unhinged. He's like, own your shit. Aaron says, Danny, sweetest guy in the world when he's sober. You know, Aaron says that. And then Jack says, yeah, I mean, of course. So was Jeffrey Dahmer. Huh? Okay. You see what I did there? Hey, serial killer, huh? Got him. And then Jason's like, no, he wasn't. Jeffrey Dahmer was not a sweet guy. And then Jack's like, whoa, no, who was it? No, who was the serial killer I was thinking about? Who's the other guy? Oh, Ted Bundy. Sorry. Okay, let me do my little bit again about serial killers and Danny. No, Ted Bundy. I will say, Jax has been compared to Ted Bundy way more than Danny potentially will ever be compared to Ted Bundy. It's one of those things where Jax, it's almost good that he is taking a break or just leaving the show entirely, because everything he says is so riddled with holes and so inaccurate and any sort of self-awareness that you're like, dude, man, like, you're going to call him Ted Bundy? Brittany goes, I just heard Jax say Jeffrey Dahmer. I just heard it. But back to Jax, he's like, so is Ted Bundy, okay? Uh-huh. And Jason's like, no, I don't think he was either. Yes, he was. He was a charming motherfucker. Janet is overhearing this too, going, didn't Ted Bundy chop a bunch of people up? And she was like, he killed a bunch of women. Yeah. And Janet's like, what a weird comparison. Brittany in a talking head goes, I think Jax is more comparable to these men than Danny is. Oh. Jax goes, man, the point of my story is, at this point, I feel like Jesse's man coach should come in and go, Jax, Okay, what do we got to lay hands on men's breasts now. Let's get it back to a 0. But no, I'm just saying Ted Bundy could put on a show, and that's what Danny's doing. That's the point of my story. You guys have to agree with me. I'm the fucking lead of the show. Michelle goes, how are you feeling now that you're back at the house, Brittany? Everyone goes, I love it, surprisingly. I've changed everything. All the wood signs, all the placemats and the doormat. They're not an ounce of proof that he ever lived there. I cleaned up his pubes. We cut to Jesse asking Danny, going, how are you feeling, Jax? Did you talk to Danny? And Jesse's like, I didn't realize, no. Did I tell you about Ted Bundy? No, I probably should go over there and talk to him, ruin his life a little bit. I don't see a drink in his hand. We see a shot of Danny. And then Jax tells Jesse, guy's playing it real cool with no drinks in his hand. Once you call him, he's so worried about his life. I love it. It's like, once you call him out, this guy actually is trying to change his behavior and learn. What a dickhead. Oh, I see what he's doing. Like, this is no self-awareness. And Jax goes, next week, guaranteed, he'll be fucked up again at Jax's saloon. And Jesse's like, well, go talk to him and see what he thinks. It's all a game for him. It's all show. Is Jax sucking down a vodka rocks? And Jesse goes, go say that to him, Jax. You don't need to say it to me. Now, I like this. I like this little Jesse of like, go tell him. I don't want to hear it. In a talking head, Jesse goes, I don't know if Jax is so concerned with Danny's drinking or concerned with the fact that everybody thinks that his world is perfect. He has this real chip on his shoulder that nobody knows about Dark Side Danny, and I need to expose it, and I don't understand why. I thought we wanted to call him Pantry Danny. Anyways, now Jax like saunters over to Brock and Danny. Hey, fellas, what's going on? And Danny's like, oh, what's going on, man? How are you, brother? I love that Brock never fully connected with. How are you, brother? Jax is like, hey, nice hairdo. Brock has like a shaved head. Thanks, bro. Thanks. What's going on, you guys? Brock leaves the scene. Oh, sorry, bro. I gotta go. Danny goes, how you doing, Jax? What's up? What's up? You tell me, Danny. With what? How you doing? What's going on? Doing all right, Jax. Been a crazy summer sipping on some water. I know you had a couple get-togethers this past week. Didn't know about. Wasn't invited to. And I feel like you did it obviously on purpose. What's that? Not invite me, Jax. And then you said, well, who cares? He's probably out getting drunk somewhere. Jax goes, listen, I'm not saying that you're not a good father. I did compare you to Ted Bundy earlier. You weren't there for that, but you're a great father. Ted Bundy, great father as well. All serial killers, great fathers. But you are a terrible drunk. You are. That's coming from a terrible drunk. Danny goes, how can you, you don't have a leg to stand on. Two things can be true at once. Danny could have a problem. Danny also right in the scene. And Jax goes, what do you mean I don't have, what do you mean I don't have a leg to stand? What are you talking about, the coke addiction? You don't have a leg to stand on. I'm not a terrible drink. I have an anger issue. I am not a terrible drunk. It's the anger, but then I usually am drinking when the anger, whatever. Oh, fuck you, Ted Bundy. No, it's the anger which leads me to drinking. Danny in the talking head goes, we all know Jax has bigger problems than anger. And if anybody's hiding things, it's Jax. Danny goes, you are a terrible drink. And Jax goes, you've been kicked out of my bar for touching girls inappropriately twice. Bro, I have twice. Not once, but twice, thrice, twice. And Danny goes, no, once. He goes, twice. I have dealt with that immediately when it happened. That was a year ago. Can I talk yet? Because Jax keeps trying to interrupt. Can I talk or am I not going to be able to talk at all in this conversation? You can talk, but I'm still talking. Hijack the whole conversation, Jax. Do what you do, Jax. I'm not hijacking nothing. This is my show. You walk around, you live in this fairy tale world that you think, like, I got to make sure that everybody thinks that we're perfect, we're protected. Nia's overhearing this like a table away. We walk around, I'm not drunk. We're protected, Danny says? Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're protected. It seems like a lot of shit has come his way. We have to make sure we look perfect in front of everybody because we're so scared of what people's going to find out. It's okay to not be okay. Jax, it's okay to not. Oh, Jaxie, buddy. The one person that shouldn't be having this scene is having the scene. But Danny's mouth is agape like, are you out of your fucking... Mine? He goes, I understand it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to live in Santa Clarita. Now he points at Nia. First of all, I've called you multiple times, Nia, to come pick him up at a bar. Multiple times. And Nia goes, I almost hit you, Jax, with a car when you were stumbling in the middle of the street. No, you haven't, sweetheart. Are you making up something? And Nia's like, yeah, I have. You think you're living in some fairy tale world with the Avatar creatures? Where you're like, this is Miss America, and Doute jumps in. Like, Doute's like, I'm going to destroy you, Jax. And then Doute's like, I'm going to jump in now. Hey, look at me. Let's go watch Drive. And Jax says, you're telling everybody that you're protected? You know, and Danny's like, I never said that. You're not fucking protected by anybody, Jax says. Doute now puts herself in between Jax and Danny and Nia. And Jax is like, you're like, guess what? We're perfect. And everybody, we're trying to be perfect. We're no better than anybody else. There's a mirror in front of you. Like, Jax is just mumbling just insanity right now. So Danny's like, dude, you're psychotic, man. Jasmine in a talking head goes, there goes the Zen party. And Jax is like, psychotic? What? You call me psychotic? That's what they called me at the mental health facility. I feel like I'm home. No. So that's insane. We go to commercial. What's going to happen next? I'm back from break and Jason's sitting with Janet going, should I go over there? And Janet's like, no. The producers are like, Janet, stop. He needs to go over there. Anyways, Jack's like, Doute's like, go on a walk. And Danny's like, he's a narcissist. He's a pathological liar. And he's like, Danny, it is what it is. And then Danny's like, he sleeps with his staff. And then Brock hears that he sleeps with his staff. I have heard from numerous sources, Danny says in a talking head, that Jax has slept with some of his staff, allegedly. And Brittany even knows about it. Uh-oh. Brock is talking to Brittany going, how did you do it for so long, Britt? I don't know, Schwartz. That's just who he is, Brock. Danny says, I don't think anybody that owns a business should be sleeping with your employees who you write the checks for. First off, this isn't Jax's money. But second off, Danny makes a solid point. You probably shouldn't, right? In the scene, Danny's like, don't talk to me about your frickin' bar. And he's like, Daniel, you're the worst thing about your bar. Daniel. We see Jax at the bar going, vodka on the rocks, please. And he's furiously chomping on gum again. Chomp. And then something like Nia's saying there's something like a camera right behind you. I think Nia's like, there's a camera right behind you. He's like, what? We're on camera right now. There's a camera right there. A camera right there. What are you talking about? And Nia's like, don't do that. And then Doute's up at Jax and Doute's like, relax. And he's like, apparently you don't have a problem. And Doute goes, they don't have a problem, Jax. He doesn't. You don't know what goes on their home. Jasmine in a talking head goes, there's not enough crystals in the world to heal anything in this group right now. No. Doute says, Jax, you have not been around for a month. Danny tells Nia, what do you expect, Nia? I'm trying to keep it together. I'm hanging on by a thread. I had 0 sleep last night. I had 3 kids all day today. While you got your glam squad. Uh-oh, Darkside Danny. Michelle now is talking all of a sudden out of nowhere to Jesse. And Michelle's like, to this day, you have never asked me about my mother. And Jesse's like, because it's not my place to ask. It is your place because you have a daughter and her grandmother is dying. And then we have another box where Scheana goes, I'm confused. Why now I'm hearing that you and Kristen are saying that I brought Jenna around to hurt Michelle. She's talking to Zach, I think. Jasmine says, I really thought tonight we would all squash it, but no. Right now, we are worse than we were. You know what that says? Season 3, baby! So it's like 4 boxes of trauma. And we see 4 boxes up where they're all like arguing with each other. Blah, 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 blah. Scheana goes, Zach, you are throwing my name in the mud. And Janet says, Michelle, who's saying my name? I'm so confused by the action here. Oh, no. So Doute comes over to Scheana. And she's like, can we just clear up one thing? Are you saying that I brought Jenna around to hurt Michelle, Kristen? And Doute goes, no. You and Janet said at El Coyote that I was the one doing that. I was like, we're about to launch into a flashback of El Coyote again. So the El Coyote, blah, blah, blah. And Janet's like, ah. And Doute's like, why are you getting involved, Janet? And Nia's like, because she really loves the drama. So now in this scene, Zach goes, Jenna is not the problem here. And Michelle goes, so who do you think is the problem, Zach? And then Zach goes, Janet is. Janet is. And then Janet goes, okay. And then Zach's drinking wine, and Doute's like, you just took my wine, Zach. And Janet walks, and Zach's like, no, Janet, 1 second. I was trying to argue with you, please. And Michelle goes, Janet. I love that everybody's trying to keep everybody in these scenes, and they don't want to be in these scenes. Zach says, Kristen is not bringing Jenna around to do anything. It is Janet trying to actually propel the narrative. She is destroying people's lives. I think two things are going to be true at once. I do think they brought Jenna to cause a little uncomfort. I do. Zach goes, she tried to destroy me and she tried to destroy my livelihood to buy Scrotox. We flash back to the first episode of the season when Janet tried to mend fences with Doute, saying, I'm sorry that I roped you in with Zach's demonic behavior. Zach says she is trying to destroy Danny and his reputation with pantries. We flash back to scenes with Janet saying, yes, he sexually assaulted Jasmine and Michelle. Doute says Janet has been the ringleader and the major pot stirrer of this entire summer. It would be great if Janet went to the bathroom. What was that HBO docuseries where they were trying to get the guy to admit that he murdered a couple people and then he's still mic'd up and he goes to the bathroom. He's like, of course I fucking killed him. I would love Janet to go to the bathroom mic'd up. Of course I'm the fucking ringleader. I've tried everything. But anyways, Janet goes up to Jason going, I'm not doing this. I'm telling you, I'm not doing this. And Jason's like, do we have to go to the tattoo place again? What's going on? And everybody's like, Janet. She was like, Janet, can you not walk away? They are literally all begging Janet to be in this scene. They're begging her. Michelle's like, no, Janet, it's cool. Come, please, please. Janet goes, how is this on me and a talking head? Kristen has invited Jenna to her housewarming party. Zach invited Jenna to Benji's party. Yet you're going to blame me as if I'm the one doing all of this? It's bullshit. Zach now comes up to Luke and Doute and Nia and Benji. He's like, what the fuck? He talks to, now Brittany's there, and he kind of spins Brittany around. He goes, if you literally ever have her back again, I'm literally over this. And Brittany goes, who? I like Brittany. Who are you talking about, bud? And he goes, Janet. I'm literally over here trying to have a serious conversation with her. She fucking runs away. The producers are trying to get me to have a serious conversation, and she won't. Janet talking to Michelle going, I'm sorry, Doute threatened to beat me up and called me a whore. That's season 2 Vanderpump Rules, baby. Zach talking to Brittany goes, she doesn't want to actually hear what she's actually doing. She's so like Jax. It's so crazy. We cut to Janet just with full tattoos of like, I'm not the problem. I've got an anger problem. Zach goes, Brittany, are you under the same spell that you were under with Jax? We're reaching. And Brittany goes, Zach. And we see a shot of Jax just drinking in a corner. He goes, I'm serious right now. She's going to cut off your fucking skin and she's going to wear it. And Jack's like Ted Bundy. Did I hear? No. That would be a great season 3 storyline. Janet's cutting off the skin of people and wearing them. Michelle is overhearing this going, why don't we just start to apologize, talking to Doute for calling her a whore? We're broke. There's a peace treaty here. Why don't we start by apologizing for the whore comment and that you wanted to beat her up and then you can talk? And Doute goes, if that's all I said, that's really nice. And Janet's like, oh. Michelle's like, no, Janet, don't leave again. Please, please. And Doute goes, no, I was saying that was really nice. And Janet goes, calling me a whore and threatening to beat me up is nice. Doute goes, listen, I said some shitty ass things. Will you look me in the eyes? She tells Janet. And then Doute goes, that's just me. I'm sorry that. And Janet's like, what do you mean shitty behavior is just what you do? What are you saying? And Doute goes, listen, we used to be literal best friends. And Janet goes, we were. So deep friendship that I don't feel like we've learned enough about. And Doute goes, we used to be literal best friends and I say things, but you know me. I say colorful, shitty fucking things when I'm mad that the Bravo audience eats up after a decade. So if you took that seriously, Janet, and Janet goes, that's like what Jax does. And Doute goes, you're obviously not a whore. No, Janet, do not compare me to Jax. You're not a whore. I love it. You're not a whore. And Janet goes, do you feel bad for calling me a whore, saying you're going to beat me ass? calling me a fan. And Doute goes, if it upset you, yes. Of course it upset me, Kristen. Do you want to be called a whore and say somebody's going to beat your ass? Do you want that? Doute's like, listen, I come from Vanderpump Rules. We're different. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Jason says, Kristen, it would bother you. It would bother. Jason goes, if I called you a whore and said I was going to beat your ass, it'd be insane. It would be insane just on all accounts. Janet goes, Doute, you have hurt me. The things you have done have hurt me. And Doute goes, and what you did I know what you did last summer. And what you did last summer fucked me. Cut to our last commercial. Fucked me. Janet goes, what? You took my words and twisted them, Kristen. We flash back to last season when Janet at a table says, Kristen decided at Michelle's to say that I said that Michelle was racist, which I have never thought in my life. Jesse goes, you're ruining lives, okay? And then Michelle tries to talk and Jesse's like, Michelle, please. Shocking that this relationship didn't work. And then Jesse goes, you were thrown off the fucking show for being an actual racist, Kristen. So it is wild that Jesse and Kristen have come so far. In this scene, Kristen goes, then why were you licking my ass all summer trying to be my friend? And Janet goes, I wasn't licking your ass. Why were you giving me a rim job all summer? I wasn't giving you a rim job all summer trying to be your friend. And Doute goes, you asked me all summer. I want to make up. I want to be friends. This is how you feel though, Janet? Janet goes, because I wanted peace with you. In a talking head, Janet says, I thought Kristen and I were friends. I thought that she cared about my well-being. And I learned very quickly 2 summers ago that she absolutely does not. Jason said, you can't weaponize her trying to make things good with you. And Jasmine's like, Jason, come on. I love Jasmine's like, Jason, you're trying to be sensible here. Get out of the scene. Get out of the scene. And Janet's like, I'm done. And Jason keeps going, you can't weaponize. Jasmine's like, Jason, let the girls talk. This never works well in housewife shows when the men enter the fight, right? So Janet walks off with Jason. Janet in a talking head says, part of me wants to say I really regret giving her any efforts. And then the other half of me is happy that I did, because now I can walk away and feel like I gave it my all. Jason's like, okay, I'm done. It was just ridiculous. And Janet's like, it was ridiculous. Yes, of course. Stop. And then Jason's like, I guess guys can't have common sense. It's not worth it, Janet says. Let's go. I'm done. It's not. And Scheana is talking to Michelle and Kristen, and she's like, I just wanted to clear up Hawaii. Zach's like, Brittany, stop letting her win. Brittany's like, I don't actually really know what she's happening. As Janet and Jason are walking off. And Zach kind of waves like aggressively towards Jason. Bye. And Brittany's like, you gotta stop, Zach. You gotta stop. And Zach's like, fuck you, whore. He's screaming out. I am so fucking done with them. And Janet and Jason walk back in. And Janet's like, wait, did you say bye? I missed it. And Jason goes, I didn't say hi, actually, Zach. You want to say bye? Zach's like, Jason's like starting to unbutton his shirt. He's like, you want to go, bro? You want to say hi? And then Jason goes, well, Zach, not when your eyes are this way and this way, drunkie. And then Jason goes, Benji, you're a nice guy. Your boyfriend's eyes are going this way and this way. Oh, we included Benji. He's fully in this group now. And Janet's like, stop, Jason, stop. Just walk away. I swear to God, if you don't walk away with me. Woo! And then Jason goes, don't say that, Janet. Don't say that. Brock now is talking to Zach. Brock's like, don't say that, dude. Don't say that. And Zach goes, bitch, I will hit you, Brock. That's when you know Zach's, bitch, I will take you down to Chinatown, Brock. And Brock's like, I'm with you, man. Come on. Jason talking to Janet again on the way out. His eyes were looking crazy, though, weren't they? And then Zach's giving these looks like, oh, come get it, dude. Now, and Jackson's in the corner. That's Ted Bundy, too. That's what I'm talking about. Brittany's seeing Zach's, like, extreme facial reaction. Don't do that, please. Please. Because I don't want you guys to do that to each other. I draw a line at face expressions. And then Zach's so drunk. He's like, sometimes I need support, too. Of course. No, you don't understand. Like, sometimes, Brittany, I need your help. Of course. That's all I want. He screams, that's all I want. The hills of Yamashiro were alive with the sounds of Zach crashing out. That's all I want. Jasmine goes, chill the fuck out, everybody. God damn. Michelle in a talking head goes, this is a disaster. It's the most zen party I've ever been to in my life. Jasmine tells Brittany he wants the support that you think that Janet. And then Zach's talking to Benji because Benji's trying to touch him. Stop, Benji. Brittany goes, I'll support both of you guys. You don't care, Brittany. You know what that bitch has done. I didn't get invited to the baby moon. You know what that bitch has done. Brock sitting down. No, I'm going to grab my wife's bag. We're getting out of here. She's going to finish up the chapter of her book about me. Brittany goes, I just said give it a second, Zach. Come on. Benji is now trying to calm down Zach. And Luke is talking to Danny. And Luke's like, we got to come up with a name for Zach's dark side, huh? Brittany in the talking head goes, this summer has been hard because I constantly feel like I'm in the middle whenever I don't need to be. I've said this a million times, Schwartz. Janet has been a good friend to me until she's not a good friend to me. I'm not going to act like she's a bad friend to me. Zach goes, nobody understands my feelings, like not even my best friends. Like, I'm literally nobody that cares. Benji goes, Zach, I'm here. Who are you? I'm Benji. And then they hug. Benji's like, holy shit, man. I got a summer ahead of me. So we see some like static shots of Yamashiro, and all of a sudden Michelle's like, oh my God, fireworks, send fireworks. And we see fireworks as like intense music plays, and we see flashes of the couples. Is Luke talking to Danny saying, I mean, if a single moment defines who a person is? And Danny's like, exactly. And that's what keeps being brought up over and over is one single moment. Obviously talking about the grabbing Melissa and Jasmine, right? Fireworks are still going off. Jasmine says, I have a ring getting made for her, and I'm going to propose to her. We're going on a trip to the Philippines or Australia, and it's going to happen next month, so I'm really excited. And then we see Jax going, I want her to grow, I want her to be happy, and all that bullshit. I'm just not there yet in my mind. And he's talking to Lally, and Jesse's like, when you actually fall in love again, then it's easy to let go. And Jack's like, I don't see myself falling in love again at all. So the music is playing. Doute says, karma is on my side. Like, my karma this summer was this. And she flashes her ring. My karma, chef kiss. Oh, God, I get scared when people make declarations like that on reality TV. And then we hear Zach go, where's the napkin? My Scrotox is leaking. Next week on the 3-part Valley reunion. And we see Andy go, is Frank Dramon allowed in your bar? That's the fake, the Finsta account that Jax made. And everybody's laughing. Oh, Jax. Jesse says, I spoke to my attorney. And Jenna goes, aren't you representing yourself, Jesse? So you spoke to yourself? And then Andy asking Janet, did you befriend Scheana and Kristen to get on TV? And then Doute says, you're trying to be someone that you're not, Janet. And Jenna goes, makes it sound like I have good as gold posters all over my bedroom, which I would have good as gold posters all over my bedroom. And then Danny telling Jax, I thought we were good. No, to Jasmine, I thought we were good. And Jasmine says, your apology to me felt like shit. Michelle goes, you can tell there's a level of jealousy. And Zach's like, did you just call me jealous? Ugh. And then Michelle to Jesse saying, you told our client that you wanted to eat her out. And then Jasmine goes, get that sale. It's so dark. I've seen more clips of the reunion that came out today, which is way better than the little tiny trailer that we had right now. And then finally this is wild. Last night, so Luke was on the Viali files, and so I guess Luke got this text message from an unknown number last night, and the text message reads as such: maybe you should not go on a podcast and talk shit. You are a loser. We never liked you. You did lasted longer than 6 months. Grow some balls. You can only be friends or talk to people Kristen allows you to. We all knew you were whipped anyways. Never trusted you. And Kristen posted this, and Luke posted this in his stories. This is obviously Jax, and he's upset at what Luke said on the Vial files. And so, yeah, so we are in for an intense 3-part reunion, and Brittany on Watch What Happens Live, like I said, just shows that Jax seems to be still really in a dark place, but we got through this season. We made some light, some humor. Hopefully you got a laugh or two. We still have 3 more reunions to go, so it's not over, but the season proper is. So thank you guys, whoever took this journey with me to watch one man go insane during a recap season of The Valley. It's special for me. So have a great Thursday. Come back Friday for the OC recap. Bye, guys.